But boy, the week did not get away from me this week. So I appreciate everybody's patience with that ContraPoints video. Isn't that always the way? I had that thing 90% done a week ago. And I thought to myself, hey, no biggie. I got this. Yeah, I did not have that. No. But, hey, I think it was fun anyway. We had a good live anyway. Or a good premiere. Yeah, that's it. We had a good premiere anyway. Yeah. My Ford is twisted. Okay. Huh. I don't know who I think I'm going with this. That's not gonna work. So, yeah, there's one here. This is what I get for changing up my times. But, I think that I like this. I don't know. I think this might work for me. I may just end up having Saturday be my YouTube day. And doesn't it make more sense to have a video premiere and then have the live stream right after anyway? That was my thinking. Instead of having a lag there of an entire day. My thinking originally was that I was going to, kind of spread out the content, but yeah, I just don't know if that's really working. I don't know if that's really how that's playing out. I think it might make more sense to, just go ahead and have the live stream discussion follow up right after the video. Maybe we would all do a better job of staying on topic. Myself included, okay? But, what am I going to talk to myself about for the next however long until someone arrives? I don't know. Hello, someone. How are you today? I hope you're having a lovely Saturday. It's a very nice day here. We got a breeze. It's like 75 degrees. Perfect. Could not be nicer. And we had a really good premiere this morning too, of my response to ContraPoint's latest video. Which, like, has that guy really not posted in a year? According to his channel, his most recent video was a year ago. How time flies, huh? It was worth waiting for, though, because I think he's rounded a turn in that year. He appears to have just decided to do away with actually making an argument for his position, and has decided to settle on, if you disagree with me, you're a bigot, the end. Which is sad, because I feel like he used to try a lot harder than that to actually rationalize anything that he was doing or thinking. But, denial is a hell of a drug, I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to put myself in the shoes of someone who's gone so far down the road of denial. Because, I did all this so long ago, 20 plus years ago, myself, and that was my problem, was that past a certain point, I just couldn't suspend my disbelief any further. That there were certain things I just had to accept about myself and about the world. Oh, there's chats. Hi, Mary. What up? Just finished watching a new Contra video. It's rainy and gross here. I'm sorry. He was like, I don't care about women and children. Yeah, we know. Nah, he never had a good argument. No, but he used to try. And, like, I guess he started his YouTube career as, somebody who would try and like go and de-radicalize right-wing weirdos. So like you have to have a certain amount of. He is a transsexual menace. Yeah. I don't know. I was kind of thinking I might get one for myself. They think I'm a menace to them. Does that count? Girl, I'm sorry I didn't see those chats earlier. Oh my god. How you doing? That's a semi-truck rolling past my house. Right. So I'd have to like put a little 2 on it or something. Maybe this will work. It's worked before. That's good. I'm glad you're good. I hope you had a calmer week than I did. Oh, and happy belated solstice. Man, that was... Oh, I was so mad. All I wanted to do was have a fire. And between one thing and another, I didn't get that bitch lit until 10:30 at night. Oh, I was pissed. I was wearing my T- shirt yesterday and tried to explain what it means to my neighbor. I'm not familiar with that slogan, but I assume it has something to do with the dropping the T from the LGB, maybe? What'd your neighbor say? Yeah, it's probably a better angle anyway. You're sitting right in front of me. It's a shirt. There's all the letters of the alphabet minus the T. You know, that was, before I got married, that was my last initial, so. I explained that the LGBT, the T part wants to include maps. Right. And like they got those people in a bind there on that one, don't they? Because, you know, if just logically speaking, excuse me, if anything that you know, if your sexuality is an unfettered frontier of just unbridled truth, then yeah, maps pose a problem to that philosophy, don't they? They really. I told him that the organization that runs transgender also has the eunuch flies. They write about removing the genitals of children. The eunuch files. That makes more sense. You know, that might have been one of my favorite, that was definitely one of my favorite points about that ContraPoints video, is the bit where he's like talking about how Kelly J. Keane wants people identified as lesbians to be sterilized or whatever. And that the money was coming from the guy who sells medical supplies. Ooh. Right. You know, and that's another question that I'm going to be asking straightforwardly a lot more often moving forward. Why does being transgender require medical treatment? Being gay doesn't require medical treatment. You know, just innocently and straightforwardly. Why? You know, aside from the suicide thing, I'm not sure anyone has a good explanation for that. Yeah, he had his 7-year-old daughter and 10-month-old son with him, so I tried to boil down why tea is bad. Oh, yeah. You know, and it's just so funny. Like, what's going on in a few sentences? Yeah. That was probably worthwhile, you know. It's a good effort to make. They talk about... I just am having kind of a brainstorm. I'm trying to kind of spitball in my head a little bit about but what's cool about the girl. I wanted to play What Time Is It, Mr. Fox? But she was like, you're a girl. You would be Mrs. Fox. Well, yeah. She's based. Nice. And you said she's what? How old? 7. Nice. That's a good age. They're old enough that they are who they are, and young enough that the world has not beaten on them yet. So, yeah, that's a good age. Oh. No, yeah, but I'm just kind of sitting here brainstorming a little bit about how, like, Contra did this several times. But mainly, like I kept saying, like, the response to all of this from the conservative wing was pretty predictable, right? Like, anybody could have seen, could have thought ahead, and said that if they actually managed to change laws in favor of the trans movement, then the conservatives are going to lose their minds. I feel like that was predictable. So, and now, that has become the rationalization for everything that they want to do, is how terrified they are of the conservative reaction to the fight that they picked in the first place. And it's like they do that all the time. They flip everything. It's like, I'm not even sure they have any real arguments of their own, or any ideas of their own. I think they may have just stolen everything and, like, inverted it. Not to make a bottom surgery pun, but, heard it and I can't unhear it. But, like, the children thing, okay? Yeah, they're the ones that brought kids into this for a reason that was so obvious to me and always has been so obvious to me, which is that if you're an adult and you believe that you have been transgender your whole life, a really good way to provide evidence of that would be to find a kid who's trans. It's a safeguarding concern. Hell yeah, it is. But, like, it's hypocritical of conservatives, I think, to talk about coming through the children, because, they're the ones who really do such an amazing job of indoctrinating their children into their belief system, which from the outside, yeah, I don't know how anyone believes half that stuff otherwise. They have to indoctrinate the children. Otherwise, you grow up, like, observing stuff without filtering it through Jesus or whatever, and that's a problem for them long term. But, like, but it is, everyone has a stake in that. In the children, generally. Everyone has a stake in that. And it makes sense that we would be arguing over how to raise our society's children. That's an important debate to have. And, it strikes me as just, another strain of misogyny that, like, literally the first thing we think of when anyone brings up any kind of safeguarding concerns is Helen Lovejoy. Won't somebody please think of the children? Because we're just freaking out, right? You want to take them? Yeah. Oh, yeah. And, like, guys, like, I don't usually respond to, like, random wisecrack videos, but, like, this dude was making the argument essentially for why kids deserve political rights. And it sounded really, it was rational and logical, and it sounded nice. But based upon where I have sat the last several years, the implications of this were very, just jumped right out at me. Kids don't have, like, political agency because they're kids, And if we make them full citizens, right, and then what? Here, California wants to provide surrogates to gay men for their infertility provided by the state? No one should have a womb provided for them by the state. That's horrifying. Kids aren't many adults, they're children. Right. And I've said this before recently. I know I've said it to my own kids a couple of different times recently because I have a 5-year-old and a 15-year-old, so, things can get a little dicey there sometimes. No one is out a biological kid. No. And that's the thing about this shit, like, how do you not see, like, this is California, so they're probably mostly wealthy white men, right? How do people not see that when wealthy white men want something, society treats it like they need that thing? Where the fuck does that come from? Where the fuck did they get off being the ones who, I could probably think of a half a dozen examples of this just off the top of my head. I mean, this country that we're sitting in right now, they wanted it. So they came up with a reason why God wanted them to have it. Wow. I mean, a little bit of hubris there. Good grief. So all of a sudden, instead of wanting to conquer the continent, they needed to because God said so. So there's one right there. One big fat one from American history. And that kind of shit happens all the time. No, you don't get a womb provided to you by the state just because you want a kid. Jesus, go adopt. Hello? Like, how many kids out there need homes? Good Lord. Right, yeah, F that. And people love to talk about white women and whatever. Meanwhile, yeah, I am standing right next to these dudes half the time when they are behaving in this way. What the fuck am I supposed to do about it? Generally speaking, they don't listen to me either. I am wearying of single men that want kids. Yeah. Like, there's a whole series of steps that as a single man you need to go through to get to that point. But, attracting a partner apparently is difficult for dudes. I don't know. Like, I'm a redhead with a big butt, so male attention's never something I have wanted for. But I hear that some of them struggle with that. Well, they need to stop being jerks. Right, yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, in order to get to their goal, they're going to have to do a whole lot of, like, personal growth and self-reflection. And, like, work. A blonde with a big butt. Nice. So, probably similar thing going on there. Like, I was informed at a social gathering once by an older fellow. I was 14 or 15, so he could have been 25. I don't fucking know, really. That, did you know all redheads are nymphos? Yeah. I've had people be offended that I don't want to go and do them right then and there. Because I have red hair. Which is one of the reasons that right now I do not. Oh God, because I'm about to be 40 and I still look like 30, maybe? I don't know. I think I look young. Got boobs early, heard tons of dumb blonde jokes. That's terrible. My one friend, I mention her every once in a while, she's a PhD. She's a college professor and a natural blonde. So, I guess that was, I've always had this big clue just dangling right in front of me that stereotypes are full of shit. Don't complain about looking young. Oh, no. It's not that I complain about looking young. It's more like it would be nice to actually get credit for the extra time that I've put in, you know, and be treated by, you know, people in the world. I literally had a dude across the street call me a kid a couple of weeks ago. Like, he's 60. So, you know, to him, maybe I am. But I'm still 40. Like, this has got to be a millennial thing, I think. But, like, I do get to grow up someday, don't I? And, you know, I kind of relate to that. But, like, I'm not 40 yet. But, like, I'm about to be over the hill. At one point, do I get to be an adult? October. That'd be fun. Yeah, I have no idea what I want to do. You know, Hubs has asked me several times what I want to do for my birthday, and I'm like, I don't know. The 18th, actually. You're really close. That's a good guess. Oh, I don't think I did. I just said October. So you got really close. You know, it's the 18th. And, you were coughing, huh? Why were you coughing? You know, makes me think. Maybe I should take a little aside myself. But, like, yeah, I don't know. It just, aww. You're so sweet. When's your birthday? Have we missed it already? I mean, we are halfway through the year, so 50-50 chance we've missed it already, I guess. June 8th. Yeah, I think you said something about that at the time. Well, happy belated birthday. It's the day before my wedding anniversary, so it makes it easy for me. You also 83. I had to miss the live stream after it because I went to my cousin's bridal shower. Right, yeah, that's awesome. And then, like I say, last week we were at a wedding. Tis the season, I guess, huh? Right? Yep. 6'9", yeah. Yep. That's the joke. And the fun thing is, we didn't really plan on that. Because we didn't really plan on it at all. Long story short, 84. Okay, that's what I thought you said. Yeah, so the date just sort of happened. And we went with it. Actually, the next day was his grandmother's birthday. So that was or his grandparents' anniversary? I don't know. Like, yeah. Yeah, so, and that was all 8+ years ago now. We've officially beaten my parents. Thanks. Oh. I should take my medication. That's what I should do. Thank you. Oh my goodness. I mean, I had a feeling we would. My parents are nutcases. My week was crazy. We had a bout of some nasty cold roll through the house. And like I was saying before we got started talking, happy belated solstice. Like, all I wanted to do that day was have a fire. And between one thing and another, I didn't get that shit lit until 10:30 at night. Your grandparents' dinner, okay. Like, it was already a significant family date, so. Anyways, yeah, so I was super annoyed about my, solstice not going off at all. And, honestly, it's been a week of playing catch-up, feeling like I'm constantly behind. How about you? How was your week? Well, yeah. I'm doing well. I completed the introduction to technology part of my coursework. Oh, good. Congrats. It's starting Introduction to Healthcare Systems. 2 down, 12 courses to go. That's pretty good. Congratulations. That's just not easy. Get you a little momentum going and, just keep on rolling with it, right? You said you're trying to go into, like, healthcare data entry is what it was? It's just boring, yeah. Well, better boring than stressful, right? Like, if I had to pick for, like a college course and those were my choices, boring or stressful, I'll go with boring. At least then you're only fighting yourself, right? When I'm done, I will get my cert in medical billing and coding. Yeah, okay. I was close. I knew it was because we had this conversation where, like, I used to be a nurse aide, and that's, like, the entire opposite end of the whole healthcare thing from what you're doing. Done enough stressful. Yeah, right? At least if something's boring, you're only fighting yourself. And, like, I don't know. Right, I don't want to be around people. Work from home is the dream. Yes. That sounds awesome. I work at home, which is a little different. Like, oh man, what was I gonna say? Shoot, I don't know. I should take my medication. I'm bored anyway. The writer's strike has no new shows. Really? I saw somebody convincingly draw a straight line, a short one too, with only a couple of points on it, between the last writer's strike and the Donald Trump presidency. So based on that, I'm kind of terrified of this new one. Like, what's going to be the outcome of all of these people not having anything to distract themselves with? There's new episodes of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, but they are bad. Work from home is great. Yeah. I can't watch that show. Because I know those people. I have known those people repeatedly. It reminds me of, what's that other one? Arrested Development? Couldn't watch it. Like, the one episode was Calling Old Lee. This is funny. It used to be funny. No, I've heard that it's, it's not my cup of tea, that's all. Yeah. And there are definitely things that I enjoy that a lot of other people I know are like, how do you watch that? So, not a judgment. I just, like Arrested Development, like the mom. He's like every woman in my mother's family rolled into one. So, yeah, I don't know. Like the shit that comes out of her mouth is supposed to be funny, and it was not fucking funny to me. That's why I don't like Seinfeld. You love Arrested Development. You don't like Seinfeld because, I mean, now, Seinfeld could almost be seen as like the direct predecessor of It's Always Sunny. Am I crazy? Like, I'm not an expert on either of those shows, but it seems like they got a similar vibe, where it's like about assholes accomplishing nothing. My family is... Jews are so annoying. My family is Jews, always yelling and asking questions. You know, again, the Jewish grandmother I lived with for a couple of years was actually one of the most well-bred, well-mannered people I've ever known. I mean, she was also the Ice Queen of Doom. But that's why you don't like Seinfeld, because it's not funny. Well, you know what? I will give you that. That Jerry Seinfeld is annoying? I'll give you that. That's why I don't like that show either. Oh, but man, it used to be mandatory back in the day, didn't it? Like, if you didn't watch it, you heard about it anyway. At least I did. So, of course, they gave Jerry Seinfeld another new show. The riding in cars thing. People in high school are so obsessed with that show. Still? Like, not now. Right? I think when we were teenagers, a lot of them just mistook it for, like, adult situational comedy, you know? Men fail upwards. Yeah, no kidding. When we were in high school. Yeah, okay. Because I think a lot of them, you know, mistook it as, like, an example of, like, shit adults get up to. Like, they thought those characters were, like, funny grown-ups, you know, and, like, edgy, but grown-up, you know. That was the impression that I got. I've just always thought that Jerry Seinfeld had, like, one of the most annoying voices in all of show business. So, like I was about to say, of course, they gave him a talk show. With, like, no gimmicks or nothing. It's just him and the other dude riding around in a car. No script, no structure, and, like, he's not that good, okay, as an interviewer. Like, what were they thinking with that? And you know what? That's the kind of gimmick, the riding around in cars interview thing is something that could work for someone who's charismatic. Unfortunately, they gave it to Jerry fucking Seinfeld. You know what? For all I know, it was his idea. In fact, I wager it probably was. That's probably why he got the gig. He had the money. Craig Ferguson is hilarious. Yeah. Dude, yeah. He's the kind of guy who just, like, his old show, like, his set was literally, like, a desk and a couch in a background. And, like, I want to say for a long time they didn't even have a band. Like, he is very charismatic, right? And yeah, that's exactly the kind of person who could probably make that gag work, that bit work. But, like, you know, I get the impression, like, Jerry thinks he's funny. Jerry thinks Jerry is really funny, which is probably why he's not improved over the years. Yeah, just like, how arrogant do you have to be to even suggest, hey, you know what let's do? Let's film 20 episodes of me talking to random people with no script. And we'll go get some nosh. It'll be good. You know, like, what the fuck? This is entertainment? No, it wasn't. It wasn't entertaining. The only reason I saw this is because I live with my mother-in-law. And wouldn't you know it, she and I have very different taste in media. So I actually managed to catch large chunks of several episodes of that show. And like, I don't know, maybe if I were interested in the cars or the people he was talking to. But like, I want to say the first episode was Jay Leno. And I'm like, gee, I wonder why they picked him. Because he is a talk show host and has a giant car collection. That's how you know it wasn't good. Right. Like, I literally, like, the first episode was like, Jerry calls up Jay and says, hey, Jay, what's up? Hey, Jerry, how you doing? Like, I got this idea. You want to drive around in your car and get paid for it? Heck yeah, I do. Like, come on. The development phase was a little on the lazy side there, I feel. Yeah. And this is why I tried so hard to get into media. I tried to get into, you know, I did music for years and have done little bits of media criticism here and there. It doesn't set the world on fire, but like, I've got the passion. Ah, well, I need to go and finish my book, right? Oh, you guys, my web developer actually started reading the damn thing. Men have money because they don't spend it on kids. Well, yeah. Thanks, yeah. He said that he got through the first 25 pages, like he's doing it in 25-page chunks. I'm like, whatever you gotta do, dude. However you gotta do it. You know, it is online and available at all times. You can read it on the can if you want. I don't care. But, you know, he's supposed to be helping me promote the damn thing when the time comes. And it's going to be real hard for him to do that if he hasn't read it and doesn't know what it's about. So, yeah, that felt like a big step in the right direction there. Because I've been trying to get him to read it for months. And it's not that he doesn't want to, you know. I mean, I know how it is. And really, he's just not a reader. He's really, you know. Right, yeah. You know, it's like you've said that you're not really a reader, and it's similar with him. So, you know, he didn't have any trouble getting through the first 7 chapters that I read in the videos. And it's been so long now, I'm not even sure, excuse me. It's been so long, I'm not even sure, like, what happens in which chapter anymore. I mean, he said it's an easy read once you get going, for whatever that's worth. Which I think is a very good compliment, because that's the idea, you know. Yeah, I have a certain audience in mind, but... And as I've said before, I'm not trying to teach people Victorian slang or some shit like that. Like, yeah, it should be approachable to anyone. And again, this is, you know, a middle-aged dude. If he can get into it, I figure just about it, you know. The audience I'm aiming for should be a shoo-in. Now, if I could only get any of them to actually, any of y'all to actually read the thing. No, don't start reading it right now, though. It's terrible because I have got to get those rewrites done. And it's very difficult because... Hey, Mary, I spent all my money on bills and them kids. Yeah, right? Well, I didn't marry you because you were, you know, average. So there you go. That's why you are Rad Dad. Right, see? Yeah. Because, and you know, I think that people in general, but machismo in specifically, tries to erase the fact that men are human. And I think they like to try and forget that. And so then a lot of times they don't act like it, you know. Tragic. It's really tragic. For, like, the human race. Which, like, oh my goodness, I had this kid say something to me yesterday, like, long story short, my connection to the fellow who brings me my medicine, you know, is actually like a 22-year-old kid. Speaking of generational differences, and yeah, I look at him as a kid. He's barely older than my kids. But he was telling me yesterday about how difficult a time he's having in his mission to help other dudes be less misogynistic. Without any prompting from me. Like, he doesn't know what I do here, okay? Like, we don't talk politics, really. And, right, yeah. And he said that it's like beating his head against a brick wall. I said, yeah, that it is. But it's nice to know that there are other fronts, right? It's nice to know. Every once in a while. Just organically. You'll just have somebody pop up and say, hey, you know what? This is bullshit. Gotta love it. And like, I ought to send him a link to the channel, right? I meant to do that yesterday. Oh my gosh, that's been like my catchphrase all week. I meant to do this yesterday. I needed to do this yesterday. Like I say, I had that ContraPoints video almost completely finished. Just sans intro. All week. Oh, here's the thought. I was thinking of just maybe making Saturday YouTube day. So like we'll do the video premiere at like 11 and the live stream at noon, so that, you know, one more immediately follows from the other. I'm hoping maybe they'll help keep us on topic. Although so far, and like that would simplify things for me. That would simplify my week a lot. Okay, cool. Cool. I watched the video and it was fresh for the live today. Right, yeah. So, and it seems less, I was kind of trying, like the original idea was to kind of try and spread out the content, but yeah, I just don't think that's really working. It might make more sense if we put them together. Right, an extra day to get it done too, right? Yeah, no kidding. I mean, it isn't, it's still 7 days, well, anyway, but an extra day in the week, yeah, because, like, I can't tell you how many times, you know, I just kind of get caught up in what's going on around here, and I get tunnel vision looking towards Friday, because that's payday. Me too. This is fun. But, like, yeah, I don't know. So I'll get tunnel vision, you know, with the household stuff, and kind of forget that Friday is also supposed to be premiere day. So, you know, by the time I'm standing there on Friday morning, just trying to think about what it is I need to go and get from the grocery store real quick, and my phone alarm goes off, and I say, oh, fuck. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. Shit. You know, like, Right, exactly. My difficulty really lies in that I'm more of a routine sort of a person. You know, the difference being, like, the precision that's required. Like, in my world, if you're 5 minutes late to something, you're not fucking late. That's not late. That's barely enough time for anyone to notice that the official time has passed and think to themselves, gosh, I wonder where so-and-so is. Like that. But, you know, every institution that I've ever had to deal with feels differently about that. Everyone else managed to get here. 5 minutes late is on time. Because again, unless the person who's waiting on you or meeting you or whatever is literally watching the fucking clock, they're not even going to notice that. You know, or like you might be peeing. Your dad was like that? Yeah. Well, and you know, I think that some people have anxiety, like hardcore linked to the clock. You know, going way, way back to when they were little kids. You gotta arrive right on time. Yeah. Which, like, to me, is like trying to shoot a moving target with, like, through, I don't know the metaphor for this, but like, it is trying to hit a moving target through just this mad chaos of life. For a party, you arrive late. Show up early, you gotta help set up. Yeah, and like threading that needle to arrive exactly on the hour or whatever, like, I don't know, that just seems like unnecessary stress. But yeah, like I remember growing up, you know, our parents definitely felt the time pressure, right? And when they treat it like it's real, you internalize it like it's real. I've been fighting with myself my whole life over this. And eventually it occurred to me that clocks were invented. My brother didn't want to go to a dinner because we would arrive 12 minutes late after our reservation time. Oh my God, call the fucking restaurant and let them know you're on your way. Problem solved. Like, that's what you call, I mean, first of all, don't let the perfect be the enemy of the good, okay, bro? Oh, thank you. Oh, thanks, Mecca. How you doing? And it has pockets. Sort of. They're not huge, but they exist. So that's always good. Yeah, and also as far as like you're great? Good. I'm glad to hear it. I hope the weather is anywhere near as nice there as it has been here, although it looks like I might get rained on. I spoke too soon. But yeah, I don't know. You're gonna just be like all or nothing and flip the table over 12 minutes? At what point is it just you being dramatic and ruining shit for everybody? It's incredibly gray where I live right now. Probably threatening rain. Where are you? I don't remember where you live. It's been a while. This is Tennessee. And Mary was saying it's really gray up in Pennsylvania. That's because I never say so on the internet. But I'll tell you, I'm in DC. Oh, okay. So, probably the same gray that Mary's looking at, or maybe the other end of the same cloud. I don't know. Also, I'm terribly sorry to hear that. Everything I've heard about that place, and I don't mean like the government, I mean like the city. I used to have family that lived there. That place is a nut house. And like, oh man, like that thing where they legalized it a few years ago, and then the Fed went, no, y'all didn't. I love living in DC. I certainly like it more than having lived in North Carolina or South Carolina. I haven't lived a lot of places, but I like this one. Well, that's good. Maybe it works for you. I'm glad to hear that. Like, to each their own, honestly. Big city life is probably not my thing in general. What is it you prefer about it over the Carolinas? I've never lived in the Carolinas. I drove through them a couple of times. Oh, okay, Mary. We'll see you next time, girl. Premiere next week, 11 on Saturday. Live chat at noon. Bye-bye. Have a good one. What I prefer is not living around the Klan or masses of psycho Trumpers at all. Yeah? Yeah? I can see how that'd be an improvement. They don't have psycho Trumpers in DC though? Like, really? I thought they had some of them everywhere. Like, I've run into a few of them that just surprised the hell out of me. The people in DC are really cool in general. Not too friendly like folks can be in the South, but not outright rude like New York. I hadn't heard of it that way. That's cool. Nice happy medium. Yeah, like people around here, you just get into random conversations with people. I mean, on the other hand, it is nice. Because occasionally, like, if something zany happens, you can turn to the next lady in the aisle and say, "My God, did you see this?" And have her not look at you like you're insane. That's nice. If we have them, they stay really quiet. This isn't one of those places you can be outwardly like they want to be. Most people in this area that are really Republican live in Virginia and commute to work, so they're gone by 5 p.m. That's great. I love that. Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's right. I guess the populace of DC is like pretty fucking liberal, isn't it? Like I say, I remember reading a bit about that a few years ago when, you know, they tried to pass something and the Fed basically smacked them down. And it was just a blip on their radar. But it was disenfranchisement. What the fuck? That's so unconstitutional. To the point we don't even have local Republicans even run for most local positions at all. Yeah, it sounds like the antithesis of this place, unfortunately. But see, that's not because Tennessee doesn't have really liberal people in it. It's because they don't get the backing. And, like, there's no organization. I don't know. To look at the map, you'd think Tennessee was red to the core, and it's not. It's pretty much DC Statehood Party, Democrats, and Greens. Yeah, I mean, is that what it is? Just the disenfranchisement of the people who live in our capital city is just such old news? Is that what it was? Like, the optics are terrible. The level of hypocrisy there. You know, anybody who took seriously our supposed motive of spreading democracy. How about we spread it to y'all? I don't... It's completely old news to people that were totally disenfranchised. Yeah. I guess I just thought that such a blatant demonstration of it might catch anyone's attention. I don't know. That does happen sometimes, you know, like a really big bad example of something that was been going on for years and years and ever will make the news, and all of a sudden the populace will sit up and go, "Hey, wait a minute, we forgot about that. We should stop doing that." Like, you know, it's funny on the internet when libs accuse me of supporting Republicans and shit like that. I couldn't if I wanted to. Oh, but I'm not gonna dox myself to argue with a dumb person. You know, it reminds me of what I was saying about Jesse Gender a couple of weeks ago. Like, if somebody is saying shit that you know just isn't true, yeah, just blow that shit off. You certainly don't need to dox yourself to, like, own them, like, a very mature approach. And I appreciate that. Because, you know, we must be adults here. We must try, right? At least make the attempt at maturity. I don't know. It's very, very weird to hear some of the stuff that comes out of my mouth lately, because I sound conservative sometimes to myself. Which, we're about to be joined by a special guest. What is it, baby doll? Have you had lunch yet? Oh no, go have some food. Or tell your daddy you're hungry.
Oh yeah, I had 4 pancakes.
Okay, that's a good start. That's not really lunch though. But tell your daddy you're hungry.
Well, I guess they're so full.
I mean, you could, but your daddy's the one who's actually in charge of supposed to be helping you with that. You know?
I think Cole's getting into the weird stuff. I think he's going to draw it.
What are you guys doing? You just hanging out in front of the TV? Well, that's the problem. Y'all are bored. Go find your daddy.
I'm not.
That happens more often than I like to think about. He will bring me an issue, and I will give him a solution, which he will refuse, and then run away. It doesn't feel like the most productive conversations I've ever had, but who knows? Wait, it's only 1 o'clock. We have been at this for an hour. And most of my regulars are not showing up. And so I don't know. Maybe we'll hang out for another hour. I don't know. I'm just sure I have something I was supposed to be doing today. Later this week, I'm going to be visiting Uta in person, so that's fun. Well, yeah, that's cool. Gosh, I haven't heard about her in ages. How are things on that front? Is she in New York? We're actually pretty good friends. I talk to Uta almost every day, and have for like a year. What up, Big Plans Little Drive? How you doing? Okay, well that's cool. Oh my gosh, somebody actually made a friend in all of this? Neat. I mean, you know, a real outside of the bubble friend, you know. I know, you never know who will wind up a friend. Mm-hmm. Ain't that the truth? So you're just going up there to hang out together, right? You're just going up there to do friend stuff, not necessarily an official visit. Yeah, cool. Well, that's fun. Summer road trip, huh? Awesome sauce. Here's to that. Have a safe trip. Safe journey. Happy travels. All that good stuff. Not an official visit. A little road trip, like 3 hours on a train. Yeah. No, I know. If they're in New England, like, y'all just don't have the space like we do out here, do you? Mm-mm. It's 8 hours on the freeway just to get home to visit my mother. An entire work day. Baby doll. Where's your dad? No. It's the middle of the day. Will you stop performing for that camera? Stop it. Just be yourself. You don't even know who that is yet. Just watched your Jesse Gender recent vid. Was an arc I wasn't expecting. The social contagion has come to the surface. It's an entire workday to visit family in North Carolina for me, but all the stuff up here is pretty close. Right, yeah, it's all kind of close together. What? Not right now. I bet Owen does. He's been over here twice now asking me for food. Thank you. Jesse Gender is wild. Yeah, and you know what? I hate to double dip, but I actually next week I got another one upcoming with him because he touched on a soft spot of mine and I couldn't help myself. His seething resentment for women is pretty intense to behold. Yes. But like, big plans, you said. The arc you weren't expecting. The social contagion has come to the like, how he went so heavy with it? Or what? I'm not sure what you mean. But yeah, it's just him responding. He has a whole nother channel where he like puts out short form videos. They're short for him. You know, this one's 9.5 minutes that I'm going to be responding to because, like, wow. The cluelessness on parade. Maybe she means how he's now talking about how people are trying to eradicate him, and before he was mostly just talking nerd stuff. Right, yeah, he went really heavy with it. I noticed that too. That was really what got me to respond to that. Was that like that stuff about tearing down the system that didn't give him the leading role? It's like, wow. And like Contra was kind of going in a similar direction. You know, it's like I'm getting a sense of desperation from that corner, realizing that he is a non-typical man, not a woman trapped in a man's costume. Right. Right. Like I said, he's basically talked himself out of it at this point. But I think it's a little too late for that, right? Especially for a guy with an ego like that. How in the world do you backpedal from there? Right? How... Contra's AGP video was him admitting that he felt like a sorry excuse for a man and is now trying to hop the fence. And if it gets him off a little, stop judging. You're right. Yeah. I mean, I guess he always has been one to say the quiet part loud, and I think that's part of why people used to love him. Right? Maybe it was just this quiet part. You know? Speak the lie, or you two will lose everything. Right, yeah. Y'all aren't fascist at all. Woo! But, you know, he couches it in all the sets and the costumes and the drama. I think the reason Contra doesn't say a lot anymore is because it's settled into his head that he can't be a woman, but he's destroyed his ability to be a handsome man. Yeah, right. Contra's really caught up in his looks. Yes. Yes. Which, you know, and I made a kind of a snide comment. He's trying to tear down this, that, and the other, you know, gender critical talking point. And he failed to mention one of their favorite arguments. Which Jesse Gender actually made at some length about how it's all about protecting white feminine fragility. And, well, I figure he probably doesn't feel very comfortable criticizing white beauty standards. Because he's worked really hard to adhere to them. He can become the golden one much easier than becoming a woman. Right? Would better off just going to the gym. Yeah. Yeah. And not to be mean, and I don't want to piss on anyone's struggles with addiction, but I have a strong suspicion that he may have made some of these decisions less than sober. He can be, like, I get it. You feel scrawny and inadequate. Get protein and lift heavy. Right. Redefine masculinity. Be the man you are and let that be enough. Jesus. Why is that so hard for them? I genuinely wonder this. I've wondered this for so long. Like, why is masculinity so fragile? Like, what the fuck is with that? What? Like, you can't have your man card taken away. That's not how that fucking works. Why are they all so worried about that stupid shit? Right, or find some other way to value yourself, have value in yourself. Right. But a stretch goal is still better than an impossible one. Absolutely. Very true. And, if he'd have spent the last decade working on that, he'd probably be swole by now. I think that might be the lesson of 30. Contra is definitely heavy on the whiskey cabinet. Right. And, there was, like, slurring going on in this last video. Like, he's very good at being careful and not sounding pissed, but he sounded pissed, like drunk. If your issue is you're feeling like a failure, I can't imagine picking something literally impossible to obsess with can make that better. Yeah. That's a good way to put it, and you're absolutely right. I get the feeling it's, with that one, it was something along the lines of a fit of pique. Like, fuck it, I'm not gonna get to do what I want to do, so I might as well just shoot for the moon. I don't know. Like, again, it feels like there's a lot of post hoc rationalization goes on for decisions that were made in the heat of the moment, or perhaps under the influence of social pressure and or chemical substances. Yeah. Well, like, how arrogant is that? I don't know. Like, and this is my problem. Based on my experience, my reaction to someone, like, if you're already at the point that you feel justified in announcing to the world that you're the opposite sex secretly inside, you're already so narcissistic. Like, I don't know where to go from there. Contra and Jesse are just smart enough to realize they can't do the thing they thought they could do, but in too deep to just give up. So they're hoping to delude everyone and pretending they did it. Yeah. Exactly, and I think those two have a lot in common, don't they? Gondra annoys me because his narration style is always mocking so he can back off any statement proved to be false, but saying, but I was obviously joking. Yeah? Yeah? And, shit, if he wanted to, he could just, one sweeping grand gesture at the whole thing, be like, hey, Contra's joking the same way he's pretending to be drunk. Right. But, like, if he wanted to, later on down the road, you could wave a hand at all of that and be like, come on, the costumes, the sets. I was obviously not being serious. Right? I mean, really, I almost feel Right. I can see Contra being like, this was all performance art. Exactly. He's left himself an out, even still. Which, like, I'm sorry, but that one is smart. Contra's smart. Okay? He has got himself stuck in an inaccessible spot, but he didn't get there because he's stupid. You know? Smart narcissists are very scary. Yeah. 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 At least I don't think either of those two are aware of it. Which is a good thing. And it annoys me when some women dismiss crazy or cruelty from men as men being stupid. Yeah. So I'm going to go back to my favorite line that I have for that, which is like, y'all don't get to create civilization and circumnavigate the world by the fucking stars and then turn around and pretend y'all stupid. No. Not with me, you don't. That's just not going to fly. And anyway, shouldn't they have higher standards for themselves? Come on. Right? Men aren't down there mean. A lot of them are. I really hesitate to paint half the planet with one single brush stroke. Just because that feels like that can't possibly be logical. But generally speaking, I think they are entitled. They don't have to be kind. And, you know, it's like what I was saying earlier about society acting like when white men want something, they need that thing, whatever it is. And it will bend over backwards and twist itself up in knots so that they get it. And sometimes they're thoughtless, but that's not the same thing as being dumb. That's putting whatever that is in the category of things you don't have to care about. Exactly. Oh my God. And like, the attitude that aggravates me so much is that if you want me to care about it, I need to understand it. No, you don't. No, you don't. You don't get to understand everything. Sometimes you have to just support people who you love, even though you don't understand what the fuck they're doing. You're not entitled to understand every fucking thing. You're not. That's the thing that pisses me off. It's like if they don't understand it, they don't care. Which is, to me, right next to, if I don't get to be involved, I don't care. If it's not partly about me, I don't care. Which is just so arrogant. I just, You know, and it's the kind of thing that just pops up in any random, you know, guys who are otherwise nice, thoughtful guys will just randomly come out with this attitude. It's like, whoa, where the fuck did that come from? Oh my God. Sometimes I know people care about something. I don't. And I just care or try to act like I do if I really can't manage to actually care. Right. Or, like, it's, if you care about a person and they are passionate about something, then, you know, by the transitive property, you also care about that thing, whether you actually do or not. Obviously, I have skin in the game, being male, but I don't think most men are mean. I think most people are weak and insecure, so don't do what's right, because they can't or won't. Being selfish is mean if it harms other people. Well, and like I say, like the water that men swim in, the what do you call it? The water line, the litmus test, the basic, you know, foundation of masculinity is how in charge are you, right? So, you know, the idea that they don't necessarily have to understand something and are just going to follow along and support somebody, I mean, yeah, they're specifically taught not to think like that. Am I wrong? I mean, we have a dude in the chat, so, you know, correct me if I'm wrong. But, like, you know, people talk about toxic masculinity, and I hope someone will forgive me for using a Latin word, but I think of it as machismo. You know, like, there's masculinity, And then there's machismo. You know, like there's the macho dude, right? I mean, if they think that's just how everyone is supposed to be, why do they get mad at women for acting that way? Oh, because we're not people. Are we using the word to mean miserly or nasty? I'm having a brain fart. Which word? I guess it's a continuum. Yeah. Macho? Is that the one you mean? I'm using the English speaking meaning, the American meaning, which is just like toxically masculine, essentially. You know, the macho guy is the guy who is a guy before all else. I would put miserly and nasty on the mean spectrum. Yeah, mean. I said people were selfish. Oh, yeah, okay. I guess that's a bit of a vague term, isn't it? It's kind of a generic word. I just took it to mean unkind. Well, if y'all were curious what kind of music my neighbors like. What is that, Journey? Yeah, unkind when you say mean. That's just what I took it to mean. Yeah. And, you know, English is a funny language because I hear that there's this thing called synonyms. We don't have them. Not really. Right? Like every single word has a different shade of meaning, right? Even things that are supposed to be synonyms. So, like, I feel for anybody who's trying to learn it as a second language because, yeah, good luck. Mm-hmm. Which is wonderful. You know, it enables a lot of precision in communication. If you know how to, you know, do that. But yeah, we have at least 3 different terms for everything, and they all have a different shade of meaning to them. One of the funny things I saw about that on the internet is how "forgive me, Father, for I have sinned" is very different to "sorry, Daddy, I was bad." Oh my god, my husband is gonna love that one. It is, you're right. Mm-hmm. One of my favorite basic examples is like describing something as green because it can be, you know, verdant, or it can be like, oh gosh, what's the other? Oh man, I'm having a brain moment again. But like, there's a word for green that also means rotting. But it's a color of green. But when you use it in a description, it also means that they like moldering, essentially. And it's just describing something that's being the color green. And colors are a lot like that, actually. I think they all have that. I don't know. I've spent a lot of time writing fiction last like year or so, and I learned a lot doing that because I had that blog, right? But boy, fiction's a whole other animal. And you know what? I'm just not gonna get most of those rewrites done until after school starts. Fortunately for me, school starts on August 1st. So, what's up, baby? Never confuse butt dials and booty calls. Ooh, yes, I love this game.
What did you say?
Can somebody explain why some women call their partner's daddy and why some men want to be called daddy? It's probably the least sexy thing to be called.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah, that's right, you don't. Where's your dad?
I can't find him.
But you are big enough to understand this. They do not have to be on top of you every second for you to behave yourself. Go in the house.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Hi.
I mean, really, he just said peace and ran off. I think he's old enough to understand what I'm doing, right? Because it's a very sexy thing to be called if you have a specific interest that people want to pretend isn't what it seems to be. Kids are wild. Or daddy/mommy issues, I think. Either way, I'll venture to say that's a crossed wire somewhere. But, like, yeah, if you're calling them daddy, that means that you want to be the kid. I mean, whatever his thing is, I can't, I don't know. I don't know. I think daddy-mommy issues can lead to specific interests that should probably be worked out with a professional and not turned into a lifestyle. You know, you're probably right. I think that's an extra level of crossed wire, though. A lot of us have parental issues and resolve parental issues that maybe affect our personal lives more deeply than we would like to think about. I think that's actually fairly common. Most of us don't involve children in that, though. Yeah. I think that's at least one extra level of crossed wire. Yeah. Because I look at children and I see children. You know, I do not have the same reaction at all that I might to an attractive adult. I just don't. I have no idea how you can possibly know that. But, busted. When your crossed wires cause enough havoc, you should get uncrossed. Yeah. I'm not making excuses. I am not making excuses. I was, well, for one thing, trying to make a distinction between those who generally have mommy or daddy issues and, you know, those who take it the extra step. Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know how you could possibly know that, but, like, guilty. Thank you, for noticing. I feel a little called out. I feel a little spied upon here. He said a word. Right, yeah. A lady parts word. Oh, saints preserve us. Hey. Penis. Right. Owning us. Yeah. Oh, man, I haven't seen anybody use that word in a while. Scandal, yes. Oh. I don't know. Like, that struck me as a compliment. I know that's not how it was meant. Like, is that part of the body is, like, mostly internal. So, like, you can't see it. Even if you were standing right next to me and I was stark naked, you couldn't see it. Like, what the... Oh, my God. I have no idea what that means. So. I don't think he knows where one is if he says such a thing as this. Right, yeah. Or what it is. Yeah. That's tragic, but common. And, it can be overcome. With some simple biology textbooks and a willing partner, which is really the tricky part, especially when you come on like that. Hey, Tech, don't be calling me a feminist. If Brad Mom has taught me one thing, is that men can't be a feminist. I support material feminist positions. The worst boyfriend I ever had claimed to be a feminist. I'm all for men allying with the cause and calling that a day. Yeah. I mean, I've actually met some men who are like, yeah, of course women are people. What are you talking about? Like, they're confused that it's that saying. It's hard to argue with that position. What do you say to that? Facts. Oh. But, yeah, generally speaking, if you believe women are people, then that's the basic. Well, a lot of men heard feminism is the movement for matriarchy, male enslavement or something, and not just the one to get women basic rights. Yeah, and I think that might have been a lot of projection on their part. Right? Like, a lot of men don't know we still don't have basic rights. Yeah, right, I know. Oh my gosh. But, like, what was I gonna say? Right, yeah, no, that's them projecting. Right? Because what's patriarchy? Right? So, of course, they think that if we got as much power as they have, we'd use it like they do. Some of the funniest conversations I've had with men shocked certain things are even in contention. Like, what do you mean they're trying to get rid of women's sports and shelters? Right, yeah. Yeah. Man, imagine being like 50 right now, like 10 years older than I am, and you've been sunk in the middle-aged swamp for 15 or 20 years, just living your life, trying to stay afloat, doing that whole grind thing, and then all of a sudden you wake up one day, you got your empty nest, you look around, you're like, wow, I might actually get reacquainted with the world. So you put on the news. Oh my God. The Bud Light thing was basically a bunch of dudes just finding out a thing is happening and being like, what the fuck, I hate this thing. This is happening? What can I do? I thought that was really funny how they, like, mobilized probably an entire section of the population that was not paying attention to this at all. They almost couldn't have done a better job, really. God, I hate shit like that. I hate shit like that. Because it looks planned. Which, if I didn't know some of the stuff that I know has been going on over the last 50 years, going backwards, I would feel totally paranoid saying that. That segment of the population either don't think this is happening or thought it was so minor, there's no need to worry. Right. And now all of a sudden, they're strongly engaged with it too. And they almost couldn't have picked a better way to do that. Why? Why would that be a goal someone would want? I don't know. Why would mobilizing that section of the population be a goal someone would have? It feels like something you'd get a C in a creative writing class for. Men start caring about an issue when it impacts beer and sports not a moment before. Sounds like a joke. Yes, it does. I'm only here for women's rights and equality for all. I don't want to join the club and get the badges. The largest battle, in my opinion, is still the perception of how women should behave. Gender stereotypes. Yeah. Well, and how men should behave. Like I say, machismo is a problem. Toxic masculinity is a problem. Male violence is the problem. Because if we didn't have that, well, we would almost have nothing to worry about. Gender stereotypes suck. And it was really difficult to watch Jessie Gender and Lily Alexander discuss how oppressive femininity is. It's like, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. I wouldn't believe some of the things feminist women have said to me just based on my pink hair and lipstick and my avatar. Like, can y'all not join in this silliness? Yeah, oh my god. It reminds me of, like, last week or a couple weeks ago, we had a bit of an argument go down in the chat here over pronouns. And, like, I try to stick to material pronouns, but I'm not a member of the pronoun police. In my opinion, there are so many more important things than a conversation about nothing that goes nowhere. You know, and I've had people, like, just completely check out. Like, somebody actually left me a comment to let me know that they had checked out of the video after the first few seconds because it kept misgendering ContraPoints. It's like, okay. That's how you rationalize not having to listen to anything anyone else says. But, right, yeah, they're not real hypnol at all. They don't completely just kill critical thought at all. I try to stick to reality-based pronouns just because it concedes the argument to do otherwise. Right. There's no reason for women to not be allowed in women's spaces. You can't cede that right. Oh, no. I agree. And when it comes to official documents, I will go to the mat for that every time. But just sloppy in conversation, I will occasionally refer to, like, oh god, what's that person's name? Fucking Blair White as she, occasionally. Because, but, like, Contra just strikes me as a dude. Like, I can't call him a her. Like, I just can't. Like, that one bends my brain. If you cede ContraPoints, or whoever, can be some kind of woman, then what are people so upset about? I think making a mistake is different than pretending men can be women. Yeah, exactly. I guess that's exactly the point that I was making, which is that I mean to stick to material pronouns, reality-based pronouns, but they are not my priority here, is my point. That's what I'm getting, you know. That conversation is a conversation about nothing that goes nowhere. You know. And like I say over and over again, like, all he's trying to do is rationalize the idea that he is a woman. But he isn't, and never will be. So, you could literally just whack-a-mole every argument they make with that, right? Making a mistake isn't that deep, but it does go somewhere if it's a conversation about which ones you should use if you're being correct. Right. Well, I feel like we just had that conversation. I think we pretty much agree on that. So, there we go. The end. You know, but, like, when it comes to official government documents, yeah, wording is extremely important there. And definitions are extremely important there. The Dylan situation is a psyop to have us arguing about consumer choices as a radical. It does nothing to further the interests of poor working class people. Choose another beer, it probably owned by Budweiser, right? No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying it's kind of tricky to what extent it's a non-issue. Yeah. It's one of those issues that really, people just tend to get so worked up over it. And in my opinion, it does not deserve it. You know, my accidentally calling Blair White she does not make him a woman. And doesn't mean he belongs in the ladies' room. Arguing about, okay. Yeah, no, you're right. That makes sense. To draw us back to arguing about the aesthetics instead of the substance, right?
Oh my God, it's Brazen Sheik. Can I get an autograph?
You're lucky you don't get a knife through your eye. What is wrong with you?
So much.
Look, that's rich.
You got coffee or anything?
I have. I actually. I'm gonna need a potty break here in a minute. I think I'm just gonna go ahead and have to cut it short because I gotta pee. And it's getting hot over here.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in the sun, basically. That doesn't mean anything because you did it on accident. But if you did it intentionally because you think he has a right to be considered a woman and referred to as such, that's a thing. No. No. Pronoun arguments.
Oh.
Yeah. Not perfect about it, and I'm not trying to make sure everyone else is either. Because it's a conversation about nothing. It goes nowhere.
Well, let me know if you need anything, okay? It's not my best. I just put together some chicken salad and let me have.
It smells good.
Hey, after you're done, you want to take the boys to the pub?
Yes.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I said 3 hours ago. So it's situational if it matters. Little, none, or not at all. Or a lot. Yeah. And the Dylan thing is interesting because I don't think anyone saw that being the flashpoint it was. Right. Except I can't say why. I get the impression that somebody did. Come on, let Blair in the public toilet. We all know they carry extra sanitary pads, and who doesn't like a freebie? Well, all the sanitary pads are extra for him. I can't imagine having a convo with Dylan's crazy eyes about such a thing. The worst possible time for him to approach me anywhere is when I'm on my period. Right? And the thing about that is, they don't get it. And they don't want to. And that's okay. Like, oh my gosh. I don't know. I almost want to do some brainstorming on the idea of like some kind of a period-centered, period-focused, like, because whether you have babies or not, whether you probably have had a period in your life, whether you're a mom, whether you want to be a mom, if you're female, and if you don't have a period, well, then that's a problem, in itself, right? And this is really the crux of the material, needs and issues that we have that they do not understand and don't want to. Like, really, for his happiness, I would recommend against him approaching me under such circumstances for his safety. Right. And that's what I'm saying. It's like they demonstrate over and over and over and over and over that they don't understand these things and they don't want to. And, like, more power to them. I don't fucking want them to either, necessarily. God forbid we have something that's left to us. The most private, personal thing. But we still do have that. You know why? Because it's gross. People that want to nitpick about the period thing because young girls don't have them and postmenopausal women don't have them, they get stupid on purpose about that. Right. Yeah, I'm sorry, but if you're going to be a belligerent idiot, you're not who I'm talking to. I saw one woman almost in tears talking about how awful it was. JK said women have babies and periods because some women can't. Right. Again, if you don't have a period, that itself is an issue that you'd see a doctor for. We all deal with this one way or another. Whether you have perfectly regular periods and 10 children, or PCOS and no periods and no children. And everywhere in between, okay? Like, sis, nobody said you can't be female without a period. Right. Nobody said your grandma's not a woman. My God. Like, nobody ever says infertile women are male except TRAs. Right. And then they use it as a gotcha. As if we had implied that somehow. Which is silly, because I would never imply that, because I don't think that, because it's silly. But I think, you know, TRAs are the ones that say women can become men by getting hysterectomies. Right. Right. And as much as I think it is important, you know, like the mothers and children thing, and like the whole, like the breaking of the maternal bond has been happening already for decades. And that's something that, what is the name of the really weird one who talks about uncoupling from your family? Yeah, that's Jeffrey Marsh. Oh my God, you guys. Do y'all watch Ruin Leon? Because if you don't, you should go and watch his video about this woman who tried to take on Jeffrey Marsh and expose what he, you know, how he's grooming children. And like they came for her kid, they came after her kids. Like she's bawling at the end of this, saying, "Please don't come for my kids. I am sorry. I quit." Like, and I don't know how he, like, this is at least the second or third time that dude Ruined Leon has like collected some videos that I'm just like, dude, I don't know where you found this, but thank you. You know, I saw what happened with that woman. It was crazy. Right. It's really scary. And no one's talking about it. Well, except for Leon. Which, like, nobody ever mentions him in ever. Like, I don't understand. Is he, like, off in his own corner? Is he, like, some kind of... Is he tainted somehow that, I'm not supposed to be watching his videos? But there's an organized network of these people that are gaslighting us for saying that by claiming it's key stuff. It can't be that if it's real. Right. That was nasty. Went in real life against her, and her whole community supported him. Right. Well, and see, that was the part that I think, and this is my guess, but I think that went unsaid, which is that, like, you know, her husband wasn't behind her. That I feel awful saying this, but that's the culture that will murder you if you dishonor them. It's so annoying when people are like, oh, it's QAnon and Alex Jones stuff to say there's organized and funded work going on in relation to this. Like, okay. And that just reminds me of something else I saw. Like, long story short, the Bohemian Grove, right? Who was it that actually managed to sneak a camera in there and prove some of that crazy shit? That was Alex Jones. He's still a nutcase, but he got that footage, and you can't deny that. I don't know. It's so annoying. Yeah. So, it's annoying when crazy people are right about anything. I guess is what we're saying, maybe. That woman was in a different country than Jeffrey Marsh. Clearly, there has to be an organized network of child harmers for them to get her, like, yeah. Right, and they mobilize people that don't even realize that that's what they're doing, I think. They really do, you know. Fucking well-meaning lefty people who, you know, refuse to see that, again, if you're a person, if you're an adult and you're convinced that you've been trans since you were a child, one of the best ways to find evidence to back that up is to find a trans child. They need them. That makes perfect sense to me. And then they, you know, accuse the other side of being pearl-clutching hysterics for asking safeguarding questions. What about the children? Like, but what about the children, though? Like, does it make me a conservative to be concerned for the future of, like, the species? Because if you sterilize them all, there won't be one. Child hunters? What happened? Oh, God. Someone's been out of the conversation for a little while. Alex Jones was ahead of a lot of people. It's just a shame 95% of the rest of his stuff is hate-filled aggression. Right, like, he's still a nutcase. But he's very right about a couple of things, which is inconvenient for those of us who would also like to discuss those couple of things. A woman criticized Jeffrey on social media and made a video later in tears because she got emails with her children's names, what school they went to, and what time they go to school, and who gets them. Yeah, right. They like classic mafia shit. They pulled on this poor woman. And like I say, you know that her community did not back her up. Her community probably looked at her and told her that she needed to stop. Alex Jones is like the National Enquirer. Sometimes the stuff there is crazy and sometimes it's right. You don't know what's what until time unfolds. Well, or, in the case of the Bohemian Grove footage, like, that tape is pretty undeniable. But, like, he spends the whole time talking about shit that's not happening in, like, implying things that is not backed up by what you're seeing. And the thing is, he doesn't need to do that because what you're seeing is crazy enough on its own. But I don't know, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Like, there are various ways I'm sure that we could come up with to explain this phenomenon. Maybe the thing with trying to figure out what people are hiding is you have to jump to conclusions and make assumptions and connect things in the face of a lack of evidence. Right. Deductive reasoning, right? Or is that inductive? I don't know. It's what Sherlock Holmes does. There's precedent for this. Because that's the nature of hidden things. Lack of evidence. That's right. Gosh, and it's like the scientific method is being used very unscientifically there. Inductive, thank you. Alex Jones just wants to sell his super male anti-lizard people testosterone vital. Well, yeah, now. I'm talking 20 years ago. Do you watch any YouTube pundits who actually like? I'm a bit partial to Jimmy Dore, even though fact-checking isn't a strong point. I like his honesty and humor. I have really kind of fallen away from all of them. Like, I don't know, y'all. At this point, I watch, like, Esoterica and Top 5 Mysteries. Oh, and, like, all of Simon Whistler's channels. Like, who is that guy? He's a clone, right? There's, like, 3 of them, right? Except for Into the Shadows and Casual Criminalist, because, like, I did the true crime thing. I don't need that shit anymore. I think Alex Jones is dead serious about what he says he believes is going on. Oh, yeah. He believes it. But, that doesn't make him not a nutcase. Not even the Young Turks? Like, I got to the point I can't take Cenk Uygur anymore. I can't fucking take him anymore. And he's in almost everything. And, like, the shit that they cover, like, is not, I don't know. Or, like, I'll get halfway through a segment and the news part is done. And now they're giving me, like, it's not even halfway, like a quarter in. And the news part of the segment is over. And now they're giving me the analysis. And, like, it's not analysis. It's their fucking opinion. And I don't care. There's no reason to think Alex Jones doesn't believe what he's saying. Why wouldn't he? All the folks laughing at that woman's public humiliation lost me. Oh, God. What'd I miss now? Who got publicly humiliated? What? And, like, apparently, the mercenary forces that Russia was using to attack Ukraine have turned around and decided to go attack the Kremlin instead. So, like, I mean, good on them. Man, there's a civil war that's needed to happen for hundreds of years. Like, if Russia's going to take their aggression out on somebody, let it be themselves. But, oh, I just mentioned that the reason I stopped watching Door was jokes about Amber Heard. Oh, okay, yeah. Which, again, some of the stuff that came out of her mouth sounded just like shit my mom used to say, which is not a good sign. Which is not to try and defend him either. I wasn't involved in that. And I did not comment upon it at the time. Y'all may have noticed I studiously did not comment upon that. But, yeah, I don't want to watch anybody fucking make fun of her either. Jesus. Have you watched Beau of the Fifth Column? I don't know if he counts as a pundit, but he's my favorite. Yeah, I would count him as a pundit. He does, you want to talk about fact check, though. Like, that guy, you know, an actual analysis, yeah. Regardless of what you think happened there, by no way of looking at it was it funny. Right, exactly. Right, exactly. And, like, I was just telling my son about this yesterday. Like, I had to stop watching John Oliver I didn't have to. I decided to stop watching John Oliver altogether because every single episode featured at least one awkwardly shoehorned in joke about teenage male masturbation, which I don't want to hear about, nor do I think is especially funny. I am a middle-aged woman with a teenage son. I do not want to ponder that concept at all if I can help it. Even if you think he did in fact get entangled with a psycho and have a nightmare with her that went on years destroying his life, not funny. Right, yeah, no, there's nothing funny about any of that. I guess you would call that poor taste, right? Making jokes about that would be in poor taste. No, but I will check it out. Right, yeah, I would recommend Beau of the Fifth Column for anyone who is interested in, especially, you know, like, the Ukraine situation or hard, you know, certain hard American political topics. Hard political topics of the American flavor, however you want to put that. Nobody who really thought that's what happened to him would be laughing. That's true. If it's funny, then they don't think it was that serious. Or they're psychopaths. Like, that's always an option. But yeah, no, there was nothing funny about fucking any of that. Like, I guess the best case, like, based on what I heard her say, I know that she was abusing him. The best case scenario was that he wasn't abusing her, you know. Like, that's still a really bad, like, I don't know. My problem wasn't with the fact that some people didn't believe her. It's that people acted like something comical had happened. Right. Yeah. And you know what? I'm not saying I don't believe her. In my experience, there's a lot of give and take in those situations. She had photos and audio evidence of him literally beating her. Right. Like, I'm not saying that either of them was actually innocent in that scenario, but I'm saying the best case you could hope for is that one of them is an innocent victim getting the shit kicked out of them, which is still a really bad situation. In the context of the hours-long convo, that segment of her berating him came from an argument about him beating her. Yeah. No, it wasn't that. That wasn't what I was referring to. But it's... I actually had to end up saying to myself that I was not there. And I can never really know. She also had medical records, so she wasn't gaslighting him by saying he's a liar. No, yeah. And like, okay. Just on the basic facts of his life, there's no way that man's psychologically normal. There's no way. You don't become famous at 20 and 25, 30 years later be a normal person. No matter how that goes. So, yeah, I mean, I would venture to say that there was action on both sides there, if only because there usually is in a situation like that. I watched the whole 6-week trial and also read the entire over 100-page decisions from the trial in the UK. He lost, yeah, I heard about that. He lost there and then won over here. Which, like, I think we all want to believe that he's secretly Edward Scissorhands inside, but I know that that's not true. Some people have stuff to do. So it isn't that big of a deal to me if folks didn't get that into it. It's just a big deal to act like it's a funny. Yeah, no, it wasn't funny. And I didn't get into it because it was disturbing. Her medical records were from a psychiatric doctor, not recorded injuries. It documented her take on what happened, not actual harm. Yeah, but not a single other woman came out against Deb. In fact, 3 women came out saying he was a flawed but overall caring partner. Yeah, that's true, and one of them was his ex-wife, who actually would have had a reason, kind of motive to say otherwise. Because they have kids together. But really, I can't put down my own bias in this situation. I heard and saw her, and she just strikes me, she reminds me of women that I've known, and that's not a good thing. And so help me if I haven't been staring adoringly at that face in one film or another since I was 8 years old. I am biased in this situation, okay? I am not going to be able to, and I wasn't there, and the only way to get all the facts is to do what you did, Mecca, and frankly, I don't have the time or the focus. That's not true. There were recorded injuries in her medical records, which weren't admitted in the U.S., but were admitted in the U.K. There have been several situations where he's been arrested for assaulting various people and refused to comment isn't proof he didn't do these things. Well, and at the end of the day, it becomes like a race to the bottom, right? Which one of them is worse? I don't care. I don't want to know. I don't want to know. Heard tried to do a Depp what that one woman did to Chris Hardwick. Wait. Heard tried to do to Depp what that one woman did to Chris Hardwick. I have not heard that story. I have a feeling that's not going to be true much longer. The thing with hand-to-hand combat with men and women is that men are much stronger, so they do more damage. Yes. Yeah. Well, and that anyone would lie about something like this, has ever lied about something like this. That's why that boggles my mind. Like, I can't even wrap my head around that hardly. Getting into a fight with various people isn't the same as domestic assault. No, because in the case of domestic assault, it's almost always a woman versus a man. Right? In a private space, you can't, where there's no one, to come break it up or help you or whatever. It's domestic assault when the person in question is your partner. Right. And obviously that's not always across the sexes, but it often is. And so the fact that we can't even have like a clear conversation about it, really, that's kind of terrifying. And there were literally dozens of people that testified to seeing those injuries on her in person and overhearing him threatening her, including employees of his and former friends of his, not hers. Yeah, I don't think there were any winners. Nothing. Yeah. Everybody was a loser in that situation, and I am biased as hell. So I stayed out of it. I did. It was interesting as a litmus test, though, because sometimes people, fell either side of the divider in a way I did not expect. Johnny was definitely a hard person to live with and be around. His drink and drug use was pretty extreme, and that's going to affect his behavior regardless of how good he is sober. Well, right, yeah. Honestly, it reminded me of when, I don't know if anybody else paid attention to this, but oh my God, the Beatles were my favorite band in middle school, so fast forward 25 fucking years or something like that, and Paul McCartney's second wife is taking him to court, accusing him of all kinds of, like, basically this same kind of shit. And, you know, just to compare the two cases, that didn't go anywhere. Nobody fucking believed that. Nobody backed her up, because I'm pretty sure that guy doesn't beat people. People make empty, violent threats. It's just blowing off steam. Ooh. That may be true, but I'm not sure that's a good thing or a neutral thing. That might even be a bad thing. She literally had a black eye in the courthouse when she filed for a restraining order, and there's audio of him apologizing for doing it. It's really the pattern that's the issue. You know? A pattern of behavior. And it sounds like there's been a pattern established on both sides there. So, you know, neither of them should probably be with anybody. They probably both need to be single. I mean, not to mention, isn't he like 50? So, like, maybe your dating life, it's time to be done with that shit anyway, dude. Like, what the fuck? There are even written apologies from him for some of this stuff. I have to disagree. That black eye story got ripped to shreds, so I can't rely on her. Okay. Guys, I love y'all. Do we really need to relitigate this entire case here in the comments? Come on. I've already said several times, you're not going to get an opinion out of me that I'm going to claim is anything like unbiased. Okay, or... I can't believe this came back up again. I can't believe this. I was so good for so long not commenting on this. Man. We super don't need to relitigate this at all. Thank you. It brings up a lot of interesting topics that I think we can discuss without them. Right? Which means he's full on lying about having never put his hands on her, yeah? Like, I'm still gonna watch Pirates, you guys. I'm still gonna watch Pirates of the Caribbean. And not fucking think about this. I promise. That's gonna happen. And you know what? I hate to say this. And yeah, that was literally just why I stopped listening to it. Yeah. It's because they thought that shit was funny. And as for pundits, I don't know, y'all. I've been watching a lot of esoterica, okay? Like, I've learned so much about Hermes Trismegistus. Like, oh my god. But as far as current shit, I don't know. I lost the thread a while ago. Like, and every time I try to get back into it, they hurt my head. I'm like, why? Why do I care what your opinion? I don't know. Or it's like any of the people who are actually, like, occasionally, who is it? Oh. Rising, I think. Occasionally cover a topic that interests me badly. It can't be true that he will never hit her. Okay. 100%. We are treading old ground with no new info. Sorry. We make fun of the carbon filter ocean coffin. Oh, God, not now. But yeah, the social situation around that was bizarre. Yeah. Arguably, the carbon fiber ocean coffin is not relevant. We might be able to creatively find a way to make it relevant, but I'd rather not. Male stupidity, right? Hubris. Oh my god. Machismo. Right there. But yeah. Go hard. At least give it a week. Oh, honey. Don't come to our house. You gallows humor all day, every day up in here. Oh. It's only off limits if someone's crying about it. Pretty much. Which is funny though, because, and it was weird seeing all those freedom of speech, free Assange people being like, this woman should be silenced. I thought y'all supported people's rights to say disagreeable stuff. Wait, trying to silence who? Amber Heard? Like, really? I must have missed that. Like, I legit, totally plausible, and I just missed it. Like, and, because, and yeah, they do that. They do that all the time. And I guess in the UK now, they actually have a problem going where there's somehow the concept of free speech has become associated with the right. So like, you know, if you come to bat in defense of free speech, you can paint it as, you know, a conservative reactionary, basically, which to my American mind is strange. How was the wedding you attended? It was very nice. It was outside, so that was good. On this little isthmus that sticks out into this lake, so it was breezy and shady, and it was very nice. It's become associated with the right here too. You see them constantly saying anyone with like freedom, and yeah. I don't know. For some reason, coming from Americans, it strikes me as stupider, sillier. Like, it's literally in our Constitution. You know, in the First Amendment. You know, why would the founding fathers have put that in there? You know, I don't know. I like to think that Americans have tested this more often, or I don't know. We're supposed to have a better fucking... Because the whole reason that we exist as a country is because we wanted our freedom, right? That doesn't make you a conservative. That makes you an American. Yeah. Whereas, you know, in the UK, they don't necessarily have that as part of their cultural identity. I don't know. I don't know. I saw Hugh Laurie saying something hilarious about how America is too big to know itself. Where, like, you know, in England, everybody's kind of worried about, like, where someone is from when they start to talk, you know, and, like, you kind of get a feel for somebody's background, and, like, the country is small enough that you might be even familiar with that area yourself. Whereas here in the States, we don't have any of that. That's why we had to leave their culture. 4th of July, baby! Yeah, that's right. That's right. Freedom of speech is a liberal value here. But it's very, like, it's, you know, in reaction to tyranny is why we have that, right? And we all know this, right? This is the kind of shit we actually learn as children in school. So yeah, I don't know. It just makes me less nervous. Ah, god damn it. Sorry. It makes me less nervous coming from Americans, but that might be, you know, just my own bias. I don't know if that's actually... I had not thought this through consciously yet. This is the first time. You're watching it in real time right now. One of the reasons I deleted Twitter is I got tired of people calling me a conservative for being free speech. Or, heaven forbid, having an American flag in my bio. Like, back in the day, that was just how you told people where you were from. Even basic information is not neutral anymore. Ugh. Like, I'm an American, and I'm proud of my country, and I'm not taking on the fashionable embarrassment with it. I am very frustrated by this country. Conceptually, it is an amazing thing. The execution has been somewhat lacking. Sorry, all the folks that really want European socialism. Have fun pushing for that, but I'm cool with American freedom as a concept. See, we're just such a young country. I think in a lot of ways, we're still working on figuring out what that is. Our culture just seems to be really, in flux in ways that others aren't. And I say this based upon mainly watching a lot of British TV that goes back 50 and 60 years. And some of the it just their culture just doesn't seem to change the way that ours does overnight. I don't know. I think we have a basic concept, and implementing anything is a challenge. But I wouldn't trade what we have for what I've seen elsewhere. Yeah, right. No, the American experiment should actually be run. I think that would be great. It's a pity that by my estimation, it was maybe third generation at best. Third generation at best that they were actually still doing any of that. Keep your freedom of speech. We have national health care, so I get my broken bones fixed. The fascist boots of the government break them. They broke it, they fixed it. Yay. But, I know that, for example, in Germany, you can get arrested for saying the Holocaust never happened. We don't have that. I'm not sure that that's, and again, this, speech is an important subject. It's disgusting that we can't even have a conversation anymore. We can't. We could. But in general, we can't. Europe doesn't have socialism. They have capitalism just like us. They have stronger social programs and taxes. Right, yeah. But, we'll keep our ability to avoid jail time for opinions. Right, yeah. We got to see live on air when Kelly J. Keane was arrested for saying pedos are bad folks. Our system has its own problems. And there is such a thing as too much information. Which I don't think the Founding Fathers really conceptualized of. They were still living in the revolutionary wake of the printing press. So, yeah. Untoward language was what they said she was using. You have a point. At the wedding, there were a lot of Canadians, and we talked about a lot of our differences. Right, yeah. Untoward language. What the fuck? Where was this? Is that Australia? Where that happened? You'd think if I were going to be up on the news about anything, it'd be that, but the UK, okay, yeah. Yeah, no, the language policing in the UK is really starting to make me nervous, and we're all the way over here. The thing is, we're sister nations, essentially, right? Or daughter, I don't know. One begot the other, but, we are very closely related. And we still affect one another a lot. So, yeah, that makes me very nervous. That people are being asked to come down to the police station for questioning because they said a thing. And that thing wasn't, I'ma kill you, sucker. It was, an opinion about a political topic. Nothing is perfect, but I'm not interested in getting caught the way some do in this weird envy of other places. If you want to go, you probably can. You can't make noise at a protest in the UK now. They brought the law in this year that can conveniently break up any protest or march as a violation of the no noise policy. Yeah, oh my God. See, again, in order to do that here, they would have to change the First Amendment to our Constitution, where it specifically says we have freedom of speech, the press, and assembly. Yeah, those guys were not like messiahs or anything, but they had some shit on the ball, and they were reacting to something real, I think someone has me blocked. Reading comments I don't see. I'm sorry if that is the case. That's part of the reason I read the comments out, so that everyone is part of the conversation. I really don't want to try and mediate anybody fighting, though. Come on now. I think the UK uses untoward language when people say gender critical things or wrong pronouns. You know, I do remember her going on and on about that word, about how they told her she was being untoward. Which is a ridiculous word, and if the British lady even thinks it's a ridiculous word, it must be. Because, well, they just have all that cutesy slang, you know, so. You know, over here we walk the dog. Over there they take the dog for walkies. You know, so like if anybody was gonna know a ridiculous word to be an English woman, in my opinion. And untoward is not threatening, not vulgar, untoward. If you threaten to kill somebody, the cops can't do anything. They could. They won't. Technically, threatening someone is a crime. Technically. But, yeah, they seem to have decided that they're not gonna. That's below their pay grade, basically. Yeah, it needs to be a credible threat, so it has to be more than just a statement, generally speaking. Like, right, yeah. If you make a specific material threat to hurt someone, that's a crime, and is theoretically actionable. But, like, at that point, it's still your word against theirs, and I feel like maybe the prosecutor is not going to take that. Because, like, that's the thing. It's like cops don't... And I'm not defending cops, but they don't work in a vacuum. They're not going to arrest you if they know the prosecutor's just going to let you go. Only if it's repeated will they do something there. Yeah. Well, and, like, you know, in the UK, like, they've completely forgotten what the fuck threatening remarks are. Because it seems to have a lot more to do with who is saying it now than what is being said. I know where you live, and I'm coming to get you next Friday is different than, I'll kill you. Right. Exactly. A specific, credible, actionable threat is a crime. You're not supposed to do that. Which, and like, how stupid is that anyway? If you actually wanted to kill them up, wouldn't you not tell them? I would sneak up on them myself. I wouldn't announce that shit. So to me, to my mind, I'm not sure saying that is ever credible. But we probably shouldn't let it fly anyway. It is windy. Some people want to intimidate. They don't actually want to end anyone. Right. And intimidation, I think, is probably like the crime that I'm thinking of. Because, you know, that's like emotionally abusive and shit. So yeah, that's bad. We shouldn't be doing that. But so yeah, I guess I wouldn't count it as like actually a credible threat of murder. But intimidation is its own thing. And it's also bad. I threaten to kill my supervisor twice a week at least. We were saying something earlier about blowing off steam, I think, right? Oh, goodness, did I actually find something that works? I can set it down and have it plugged in at the same time. Joy! Oh! Critical Kitty, what up? How you doing? More the merrier. Ooh, we are over 2 hours, which means this is all bonus time. I don't have to do anything to threaten people. My ex-girlfriend last week said she has heart palpitations whenever she gets a text from me. That's true. Just being a crazy, not crazy, sorry. Being a scary, does save you a lot of trouble in the threat department. That's true. Yeah. I've sometimes had that by accident. Yeah, red hair, loud voice, big vocabulary. I guess I intimidate some people. I don't know. I love the all cops are bastards people. How brash they are, but most would call the police in a heartbeat if they were threatened. Kind of defeats the movement. Well, and like, man, that's what they get for trying to, for insisting on being, oh, what's the word? Extreme? No, but when you make a statement and it is all the thing, always. I am black and 5'9", lol. That's generally enough to qualify as very intimidating. Oh, yeah, to a lot of people. Again, I'm from the east side of Cleveland, so I don't quite get that. Like, really. Like, if I'm in a crowd of people and, like, there's only one black lady there, I'm gravitating in her direction. That's more familiar to me. Moving down here, it was like, oh my God, look at all the white people. And I know I am one, and I know that's stupid. I know. But it takes some getting used to, all the same. I think John Stewart said it best. You can support police and want them to be trained and held to high standards. Yeah. Well, and like I say, they have bosses they answer to. And not just the police chief and whatever. Like, they have to work with the prosecutor's office and the judges. You know? And, I mean, we've all seen cop procedurals. You can do everything right. And the goddamn prosecutor drops the ball and the guy walks. And then what do? I don't know. It's TV, so probably not whatever they did then, but yeah, but so it's interesting. I think what we were alluding to is that when people perceive you to be threatening them when you're not, right? What then? If you had succeeded in intimidating them without meaning to, is that a crime? Like manslaughter is accidentally killing somebody? Is there an accidental intimidation? Call the A-team. I've tried explaining to my boyfriend that all cops are bastards is too extreme. I know some cops who have actually helped me out. I don't think they go into police work to hurt people. They should be made accountable for sure. Well, see, this is, I don't know about to hurt people. I think that's probably true. Most of them probably don't go in to hurt people. But, like, the guy who wants to sign up for the job that gives him authority and a gun is probably the last guy who should be given authority and a gun. I think they ought to psyche eval these people, really. We have statistics at this point where, you know, you can actually back this stuff up with numbers. Psychology is not all woo-woo. You know, and the population size that we've got and the amount of time that's gone into studying the population and members of it, we have actual understanding of some things, like empathy or lack thereof. We don't have an accidental intimidation charge. You get scared all by yourself and get laughed out of the situation. So, you know, in my world, if I were Empress of the World, that's what I would do. Instantly, immediately, right now, yesterday, psych eval for all law enforcement. All of them. Oh, and medical professionals as well. We'll defund the police is a bad slogan. We don't want to defund the police. We want to restructure the social service budget. Right. Which isn't as catchy, but still. Like, I swear, okay, y'all, this is gonna sound paranoid, but I got this from a declassified CIA document, okay? Like, for 30 years, the biggest contributor to cultural arts in Europe, like, they were a cultural charity, was a CIA front office. For 30 years, they funded Jackson Pollock, for fuck's sake, okay? Like, so yeah, when somebody on the left comes out with a slogan so bad it defeats what they're trying to do before they even get started, I can't help but be suspicious of that shit. I'm sorry, I can't. Police don't need 500,000 armored vehicles, they need trained social workers. Yeah. If the cops aren't going to be protecting people, then literally they have to defend themselves. There's only two options. Other people do it for you, or you do it yourself. Yeah. All law enforcement should definitely have psyche valves. One cop told me I was suicidal because I needed to find God, and then I would be fine. No, dumbass. Yeah. Especially living down here in Tennessee, I get told that fairly often. I get asked if I've found Jesus fairly often. And I have to bite my tongue damn near bloody sometimes to say, why? Is he missing? I had no idea. I mean, I just saw him up on the thing at the church. Did he get down from there and run off? My God. Fine, people, this was a great chat, so thanks. All in all, have a great day. Prescribed by a white man, so you can take the good day to the bank. Rock and roll, my man. That's solid. Yes, thank you. Bless their heart. They were doing the best they can to help. And you're trying to type it. And you're here to type it, so they didn't feel that hard. He ignored my abusive dad. Yeah, have a great day. Oh, thanks so much for participating. Really, that's all I ask. Is participating in earnest. You know, one point a couple of weeks ago, it was me, a detransitioning trans woman, and a trans masculine non-binary person here in the... And three of us had a great conversation. Because that's why we were here. That's it. That's all I ask. You know, just participate in earnest, in good faith. You know, unlike ContraPoints, who is who we're talking about all this fucking time. Me. Because, yeah, no, he's clearly already arrived at his conclusion long ago and has no choice but to retroactively rationalize it, really. Like, it's too late. He's got to make it work now. I'm really sorry you had such a hard time. Yeah. And like, yeah, no, imaginary Sky Daddy is not gonna, oh my God. And like, that's probably why the cop was there. Right? Oh my God. Which, like, I'm gonna ask that person, like, if you want to be a preacher, you know, you can just go and do that. You don't actually have to get any certifications or qualifications or actually even read the damn book. You don't have to be a cop. You can go be a preacher. They make more money. Thank you, Whistle. I had a terrible time in the psych ward due to trans stuff. That's why I peaked. Oh my God, that sounds like a terrifying story that I feel like you should probably share somewhere if you haven't already, because I haven't heard that version of that story yet. Oh my God. Bound to be powerful stuff in there. And I just say that version of it because I've heard so many peak trans stories. I used to go in and read the threads back on Reddit, you know, back in the day. You gotta understand, it says in the book you're supposed to evangelize. It's part of the rules. They can't just not go tell everyone all the time. Are they wearing mixed fibers while they're doing it, though? Interacting with people whose dogma has recruitment goals is always going to include requests to join the cause. True. But, like, read the room, dude. My God. You're not going to succeed if you're all ham-fisted about it like that. Holy cow. Yeah, I've shared everywhere I can. Okay. Well, that's me missing it then. I'm sorry. But, like, in a medical setting and trapped in there, like one can begin to imagine. Oh my God. Terrifying. And that's like why on the one hand, I'm lucky. Like there before the grace of time go, alright, okay, I would have been in line for my goddamn testosterone shots. At 20. Okay. So like, but also sometimes people in such situations do go the other way. My uncle tried to end it when struggling with substance stuff, and according to him, his sister clean for like 15 years. So, right, and like obviously there's something to be around. Like we went up into the sky and found that there is no Sky Daddy there. There's nothing up there. We know that. It doesn't seem to matter to people. So it just sucks that for the few who run into that mess and are apparently great, there are all those rest that, nah, that doesn't do it right. It was terrifying. One of the nurses, I was like, I have no problem bunking with lesbians. They're female, right? Oh my god. The inmates are running the nut house there. Like, that's the only... How you could not have thought that in that moment. When you have the attendants in the psych ward telling you crazy shit. God, how do you ever not question authority after an experience like that? And in this country, there's a lot of people with that belief. So if it's a fair guess, you might be saying something comforting to someone. Okay, I guess. I don't know. I come at it from the other side. I was raised, my dad is a Wiccan and my mom is an atheist. I was raised almost entirely outside of this. As weird as I know that is. So to me, it's always strange. It's always strange. And it is like one of the most blatant examples I can think of is I first moved down here and I had a job running a cash register. And this old man came up to, in my line, and like his opener was, "Hi, what church do you go to?" I felt like he'd ask me what color underwear I was wearing. Like, what the fuck business is it of yours? Again, I'm from Cleveland, where like every third person you meet is a different religion and from a different country. You don't open a conversation by asking somebody what church they go to, because there's a really good chance they go to a synagogue. Like, my dad's an atheist and my mom is Catholic. I'm a gold star atheist, just like JJ. On. My parents are both very religious folks. So is my entire family, and I grew up in the Bible Belt. Glad to be out now, but yeah, that was an all-the-time thing. A lot of my life, right? See, and like, how do I want to say this? There are ways that the material like affects the immaterial in ways that we don't understand yet, and like we've spent the last 150 years or so just kind of trying to pretend like the immaterial just doesn't exist at all. So that's not been real productive in that area. When me and my mom first moved to North Carolina, the ladies from the local church suddenly showed up at our house with a bunch of stuff, an invitation to their church. Now that's how you do it. That's classy. Holy shit. Because then you feel obligated to go, and you look forward to seeing them again. I mean, my God. They got you coming and going. That's hilarious. I would venture to say that's how you do that. But this town is small enough that this old man had been to this store often enough that he knew I was new. And that was why he asked me that. And then he suggested that I drive an hour out into the countryside to visit his little podunk church because they preach the true gospel. And I thought, I don't want to know what that is. That sounds terrifying. I don't want to know what that is. It did totally work. We wound up going there for quite a while. Right? And like, gosh, there's something to be said for community. That's the only reason we go to church, which we do every so often, was because like there's not even a bar in this town. How the fuck are you supposed to meet anyone over the age of 15? Or under the age of 80? Or, outside of a work setting. My patio has lizards. And I'm from up north, so they just like the lizards are just wild to me. I'm like, oh my God, it's a lizard! That's so weird to ask someone their religion when you don't even know them. Right. To me, that's a personal question. Like they assumed I was Christian. I don't know. I don't know what, short of like wearing a pentagram around which would be disingenuous anyway. I don't, I don't wear a cross. Yeah, that's for sure. Cultural differences. Actually, the funniest one was probably the toboggan. Actually, apropos of nothing, quick survey time. What's a toboggan? If y'all know that word, what does that mean? What is that? Aw, I wish there were wild lizards where I live. Huge animal lover. Yeah? What do they got where you are? I'm sure they have something besides squirrels, which are everywhere, I think, just about. Oh. Because right now we got 2 Americans. Where are you from, Critical Kitty? Are you also American, or... Oh my gosh, I got a lady who tunes into me every once in a while is in Australia. It's not weird in a place where it's a small town. You know everyone, and everyone is religious, right? Why would some heathen want to move there anyway, besides that they wanted to join up? That's, I suppose, the legit question. Well, it's party here, for one thing. And for another, I had to get out of some toxic relationships, and I figured putting a few 100 miles between me and them might do the trick. It did. I found new ones. Yay. But... Illinois. Right on. I got family there, too. Oh my God, I should check in on my cousin. Oh, God. I've been down here too long. My uncle actually passed a few months ago, and I had forgotten. I feel really bad right now. I feel terrible right now. Anyways, yeah, they lived in Watsika, which is, yeah. If you're an atheist that moves to a small town in the Bible Belt, then you have certainly made a choice if you find religious people annoying. Oh, well, I don't necessarily find religious people annoying. I find proselytizers annoying. No, my friend who I reference every once in a while, who's, the PhD in the natural blonde and all that, like, she's also very Catholic. She and her husband had a very Catholic wedding with the liturgy and the incense and the whole bit. And he sang a solo. It was very nice. And, for years growing up, becoming a nun was her life goal. And she and I've had some really interesting conversations. I love the fact, actually, that if I have a question about Catholicism, I can just ask her, and she will answer me. And this is my friend who I've loved for years and known since I was a little kid, so I'm not going to laugh in her face. I have no choice but to entertain the thing that she is saying. I'm cool with them as long as they don't try to shove it down my throat. Right, proselytizers. Right. And I get it. You think you have the secret and you want to share it with everybody. That's nice. That's generous. It's a good thing, really, but, don't come talk to me about your sky daddy, because I will smile and nod and walk away is what I'll do. But that's not what I want to do. Oh my God. And I can't think about it much because, again, I'm actually from central Indiana. And if you're from Illinois, you know what's there. And the approximate cultural climate thereof, and now flashback in time 25, 30 years and make your dad a Wiccan priest. Yeah, I've actually had people threaten to burn me at the stake. I mean, they were kids, but they were serious. Okay. And I was also a kid, so, it's not as if I could just laugh that off. Yeah, I politely deflect. Right. Oh yeah, attending religious events as an atheist is awkward. My family jokes that the church will burn down when I enter. See, and I never could get to the hard atheist thing. I've had too many strange experiences. But, you know, I've ended up some sort of a Earth Mother energy vibrations kind of thing. Well, thank you. Yeah, keep me in your prayers. Bye! But so, I mean, my point is that when I go in the church, I just remind myself their church is made of mine. The stone, the wood, the glass, you know, all comes from what I consider to be my church, which is the earth. So, you know, who begot whom, okay? Really. It would be really funny though. Oh, like my pagan cred is such that I've actually never been baptized. I know. I avoid being in them except under extenuating circumstances. Yeah, like I say, around here there really isn't a good way to meet people otherwise, so we picked the one that was full of Democrats. We found the hive. I grew up with lots of really dramatic, crazy church stuff. The places where folks cry, fall on the floor, speak in tongues. Oh my gosh, yeah, Pentecostal, right? There are a lot of those around here, actually. Glossolalia is a really interesting phenomenon that seems to be a legitimate neurological phenomenon. It is not like a fucking holy transmission. Mainly because it's gibberish. I don't understand. They're not ancient tongues. It's like repeated syllables. And some Baptist churches can have that drama. Oh, fun. I don't know if I knew that. Apparently there's at least like 3 different flavors of Baptist even. Like, did the Protestant Reformation ever end? I'm not sure that it did. And if it did, somebody ought to tell some of these people. My boyfriend's grandma left her church because they started pushing trans. The preacher's daughter was caught up in it. She said she wouldn't lie and call her a boy. Yeah. I mean, the other thing about our church is, yeah, it is full of Democrats, but Jesus, they're all 50 at least. Most of them are in their 70s. A lot of the time, we're the youngest people in the room by at least a decade. So, yeah, they don't understand trans movement, much less have any real interest in joining it. There's still people who can get married because they think that was like a year ago, okay? And there's one trans kid who, we met him at church, actually, that's how we know him. And he wants to be a girl. And his dad is dying from Parkinson's. So, like, you know, and his mother is not in the picture. I believe she's also deceased. So, you know, I just look at that and I see a lost kid. He's 19, I think. 18, 19, yeah, right there. I just look at that, I see a lost kid. And, you know, I want to help, but God, I don't have it. I barely have it for us, much less for everyone else. And that's like, oh, I get so tired about being accused of hating trans people. First of all, there's no such thing. No one is secretly something else inside. Unless you're talking like a piano virtuoso or something. Okay? Like, it's something that you can't physically be. Secretly inside? No. No one is, no. You know, I had to come to terms eventually with, in a nutshell, I thought I was a boy because I'm like, smart. And, what you call it? proactive. You know, and like, I just thought maybe my person, you know, or people just look at me and they see Annie. You know. So I don't know. I thought maybe if I could be taller than a lot of people I was arguing with, that might help. I don't know. I get really, really tired of people treating me like I was wrong somehow. Just for expressing opinions out loud and stuff like that. It wasn't even the opinion. It was like, oh my God, are you talking? You know, it's really sad. All you can be is you. Right. And nobody fits those boxes. And I just had to come to terms with, like, I have internalized a whole lot of negative associations with everything associated with womanhood. Which, on its face, makes me really mad. And I think it ended up being a big motivator for me. Because, wait a minute, that's horrible. That shouldn't be. He went out again. And you know, I was thinking about this actually last night, or a couple of nights ago. I was falling asleep. So I didn't get to write this down. And it's a half-formed thought. But I think there might be something here. Just conceptually, like philosophically, mythologically, we have this concept of femininity and masculinity that are like separate from the physicalities that they originate from, you know? Like the moon is feminine and the sun is or like, you know, oh yeah, that's right. It was yoga shit for some reason. Like, oh, the feminine chakra energy is passive and at the bottom, and the masculine chakra energy is active and at the top. And I'm like, why? Why is masculinity and femininity being invoked there at all? What the fuck does that have to do with gender roles? Like, I don't know. I feel like, oh, I'm gonna have to try and recover this thought because I only got half of it. But like, I feel like we need to uncouple that. You know? Like, I'm really tired of hearing about how feminine shit is dark and mysterious and passive and blah, 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 blah. Like, what the fuck does it tell you as a feminine person, as a female person? That in any way is supposed to represent you somehow? Like, you're supposed to feel automatically attached to this? I don't know. And, you know, as a female person, in a world with basically nothing for you to latch onto, it'd be really nice to be able to feel attached to anything, right? I don't think you can uncouple feminine and woman. No, 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 no. No, no, no. I want to keep those. That's what we need to keep. What I want to uncouple is feminine from anything that isn't fucking directly related to being a woman. Okay? Like, your conceptualization of your passive pranic energy has nothing to do with my femaleness. Fuck off. Right? Like, I don't... Why in the world, if something is bright and active and, like, proactive, like, and, you know, expansive, essentially, do we label it as masculine? That's the shit that has to stop. Because it's not. Like, no. I think you can argue which associations are accurate or inaccurate, or appropriate or inappropriate, but I don't think you can just cleave these things. I'm going to try. I'm going to try, because it's been detrimental to my understanding of a lot of things. Not the least of which being any kind of spirituality whatsoever. Okay? Which I would really desperately love to get out of, to find anything that isn't just some man waxing his junk, basically, with his ego. I really would love to find, and I think it's all been destroyed, because I've looked and looked and looked, and you know, a couple of people have tried to recreate some things, and no, but so conceptually, I feel like this is a really basic thing. And I wonder if by trying to eradicate the gender stereotypes, we're going about it the wrong way, like maybe backwards. You know, like perhaps attacking this from a different angle might be more effective. And like just these concepts of the idea that being male or female, masculine and feminine are connected to shit that it has no business being. It can be a Dianic Wiccan. Right, yeah. Dianic Wicca is fun. It's still Wicca. So, yeah. I think it should be more of a destigmatized gendered thing. Right. I think I know, I think I agree with what you're saying, but like if you want to describe your rising warm energy as proactive and aggressive and rising and, you know, all that stuff, fine. Why does that equate to men? Like, of course we're going to associate things in our world with ourselves. That's what humans do. That's why our cartoon animals are all anthropomorphic. True. But I mean, like, okay, the yogic traditions are hundreds, if not thousands of years old. You know, this is shit that was written down and codified, most of it, like a long time ago. And like, it's one thing to associate something with women if you want to, but to have that also be a bad thing is another. Right. To have it be a moral judgment is really the issue. You know, is passive bad? But is passive feminine? What the fuck does feminine mean? You know, it's interesting because when we say masculine, we all know pretty much what we mean, what masculinity means. Those are the roles for women in society yoga comes from. Right, exactly. And I am not just going to take that at face value and accept it unquestioningly. Nope. And like there isn't, like, Dianic Wicca is interesting and can be fun. But like I say, it's still Wicca, which was stolen and repackaged by a dude called Gerald Gardner. Like, it's all tainted, all of it is so aggravating. Women were certainly forced to be passive in ancient South Asian cultures, so them making the association, right, but I don't think we should continue that association, is what I'm saying. We need to redefine what the fuck femininity is, because it as a concept has become so entirely corrupted that it is not connected in any material, logical, rational way to what being a female person is about. It's all fluff and frippery. Like, we have nothing real. If you're going to do something going forward different than how they did it, then there's that's a full-on reform movement. Well, yeah. I mean, we're radical feminists, right? Yeah. And I'm just trying to think how you know, like, where's the loose brick? You know? You ever played Jenga? The goal of that game is to keep it from falling when you pull a brick out, but you know, if you're trying to make this shit fall, where's the loose brick we can pull? You know, which one is gonna make the most waves, make it shake the most? Like, it isn't yoga if it isn't what they. Oh, I'm not trying to reform yoga. Oh, good lord. No. That was just the example that I was listening to at the time when I had the thought of, like, wait, what? Why? I'm not implying there's something wrong with reforming a thing, but you have to acknowledge when to change a thing, it isn't say, yeah, no. And I'm not going to take on the yogis. Are you kidding me? Nah. Man, you wouldn't, really, like, they don't run the world the way the white men do, but the white men don't run India no more either. So there you go. I'm not taking them on. No, that's not what this is about. But a revolution in thinking. You know, it would be nice. Maybe a generation or two down the road. somebody could come and revisit some of this yogic prana stuff and go, masculine? What? Why? That doesn't even make any sense. You know, like I did. And have that maybe be the general thought. I watched those Jesse Gender videos. What an obnoxious name, right? The worst part to me is he admits to abusing a cat. And when I brought that up in the comments, I got so much hate. There were 4 hours of shit there. I skipped a couple of chunks. I'm gonna admit that. He admitted to abusing a cat? Oh my god, why did I skip anything? If you're going to take on an ancient thing like that, you kind of have to take what it is, or at least have an eat the meat and spit out the bones approach. Oh, with yoga, yes. With stuff like that, I mean, it's the same approach with anything. You have to go in kind of looking for what speaks to you. You know, take the wheat, leave the chaff. Yeah. No, I get it. But it was just the example that I happened to be listening to when I had this thought. Like, wait a minute, why is passive got to be the woman? Why? I'm sorry. Have you know... Speaking for myself, I have found life as a woman to require a hell of a lot less passivity than had been implied. Like, you have to be strong, you have to be proactive, you have to think ahead of several people at once sometimes who are all going in different directions. What the fuck is passive about that? It's a fair thought. All these sketchy things we brought into the modern world with us, and how many we have to keep. Yeah, and you know, I think that there's a lot of things that maybe we got left behind that you might want to reconsider. You know, and I don't consider it conservative to reject an idea just because it's old. No, no. I don't consider it progressive to reject an idea just because it's old. Progress for progress' sake isn't progress. That's just change, just mindless change. And God, I sound like an old fart right now. Yes, I clipped it for Twitter. He says he threw a cat because of masculinity or whatever. I'm like, this is exactly why we don't want men in our spaces. Oh my God, no kidding. The metaphor there. The symbolism is dreadful. Oh my God. Again, I've been writing a novel for 1.5 years, so I just think in symbolism now. But like, couldn't have kicked a dog. Oh no, it had to be a cat. Right? Wow. No, I am not single. Right. No wonder he wouldn't throw away his masculinity. Like, my gosh. I mean, the kid clearly doesn't know what to do with himself even to this day. He's keeping himself so busy with his Trek stuff and his trans stuff. He doesn't have probably time to think about a whole lot else. It's on the wrong hand, though. I moved it. So. Because it is itching. You know. Technically, I think that means I'm divorced, right? You wear your wedding ring on it. Or a widow. I don't know. I've never been either. You tossed out the masculinity, so you tossed the cat. The thing about that is you can't. You can't do that. And this is why we need to revisit the concept of masculinity and femininity. Because, like, you can't, like I say, you can't have your man card revoked. That's not how that works. Why are they so delicate about it? Why is their concept of their own masculinity so delicate? My concept of their masculinity is quite durable. Are you clearly a grown male human being? Congratulations, you're a man. What you do with that is up to you. That's the conclusion I had to come to about myself. Get out of the gender woods. He's confusing those things. Who else but a trans person would get away with saying that? Yeah. No, yeah, Jesse has a bad habit of confusing the inside with the outside. Yeah. I think that seems to be his main problem. But it's really narcissism in a nutshell. You don't understand that, like, other people exist outside of you. You know? And have nothing to do with you. Like, their ego, like, can't conceptualize. It's like being perpetually free. Which be horrible. But yeah, thank goodness I don't have to heal the whole world. What a massive, massive undertaking that would be. Oh my god. We just all got to complete our little link in the chain, right? And work together, many hands make light work, and we'll get there. Some people really live like they've never heard of other people. Yeah. Yeah. Unlike other people, is some dodgy theoretical concept they don't gel with. Unless they need something from you. Then they'll kiss your ass all day, right? Oh my god. Yeah. My dad is the only person I've ever heard of outside of a clinical setting that's actually got a diagnosis of narcissistic personality disorder. So, yeah, that's how bad that is. But it's okay, because, yeah, he's fighting evil with the dragons or something. I don't know. Other people don't matter, because he's on a mission. Oh, man. And getting something from you doesn't entail believing you're another person. It's them believing you're a useful object. Right. Right. But they'll ignore you otherwise, is what I'm saying. And then all of a sudden they'll be your best friend. And, you know, if you're not on to them, well, that's where you get into trouble. Did I grow up? You know what? It's been a slow process. When I was a kid, he was eccentric. Your dad's borderline. Ooh. See, borderlines and bipolars are the two that make me so nervous. I just try and stick away from them, and I know that sounds awful. But the unpredictability, I just can't. I just can't. It wigs me out. I am not a good friend for them, you know? And, you know, I have attachment issues of my own. So, yeah, the borderlines, the way they latch onto you, you know? And frankly, sometimes they'll do that same thing where, you know, they're your best friend, they're head up your ass. And then all of a sudden you just don't hear from them. Which, as a recovering victim of narcissistic abuse, is, oh my god, what did I do? You know, like, we don't. I was wrongly diagnosed with borderline. Turns out it's complex trauma. I think there's a lot of those out there because complex CPTSD is a new diagnosis. So, I don't know. I've also heard it argued that borderline is essentially narcissism light. I really don't know. They're a lot easier to spot. She's the real deal. They love you until you do one thing wrong. Maybe the worst, but right. Exactly. Which, as I say, is a child of narcissists. Flips me out. I have so much trouble rolling that off my back and coming back from that shit. And it just causes me way more consternation than it should in a situation like that. I've heard some theorize CPTSD and borderline are the same thing, just misdiagnosed with women. I don't buy that's always the case. Not always, but I think that a lot of them are, because like I say, CPTSD is a new diagnosis. So there are probably people out there who've been diagnosed with something else who actually have that. Because it didn't exist. My poor grandmother had fibromyalgia in the 60s, before it existed. So, yeah, she used to go to the doctor and tell them about her crippling pain, and they would tell her, give her some sedatives, and tell her it was all in her head, and send her on her way. So, yeah. I had to finally give up attempting to be friends with her after one too many of those crazy accusations. She said I aggressively expressed concern. She was, oh my god. Yeah. Yeah, like if somebody accuses me of something just ridiculous, they do get a second, they get a breath to have heard themselves and backpedal. Because we all say crazy shit sometimes. But like, no, for the most part, like if you cross the line, you've got to the point where you're accusing me of shit that I know I didn't do and it does not make sense to me. Like it's not you're mistaken, it's you're fucking with me. Yeah. And thank you for relieving me of the burden of interacting with you in any serious way. Good job. Because I'm not going to do that anymore. I literally don't know how someone could do that if they wanted to. I'm just I just had a very good sense of self. Borderlines don't. I've always known who I am. That's one thing I feel is the difference. I think some people maybe overlap. Yeah, that's a big one. She basically whoever she's dating at the time, right? Or what she thinks they want, depending on it. Right. Like they have no core self in there, which just that thought alone is terrifying. It's hard to fathom. But terrifying. And I mean, obviously they feel a lack of something, and they can't quite put their finger on what it is. See, I don't understand that at all. How people change who they are based on who's around. Right, yeah, I don't know. I didn't realize how many of the things I liked about her were her mimicking my characteristics until she started dating someone else. Right. My high school boyfriend did that to me, and I never did get any closure on that. I never did find out what the fuck that was. We dated for 5 years, which when you're 19 is a long fucking time, all right? We were practically married. So, when he dumped me to go be with the girl he'd been cheating on me with, I was devastated. And by 2 months later, the next time I saw him, he looked like a different person. Was dressed differently. His hair was cut like he cut all his hair off, and was like into different music. Like that was really the thing. Like he had hopped genres to be into her kind of music too. And I'm just like, okay, that's a lot. And you're not doing photography anymore either? Like, what happened to your hobbies before? Yeah. And just the amount of crazy out there, like, I don't know, I feel like it's impossible to overestimate. I'm meeting some loopy people. She did that with me too. Turns out she only liked rock music and tarot cards when she was with yours truly. Which, like, how do you do that? There are some genres of music, like, you put it on, I have to leave the room. I couldn't pretend to like it. What is it? Why don't y'all come outside and play? I need to get off of here and take him to the park is what's going on. That's what's supposed to be happening. Also, that one's black, so yeah. You're going to want something that's not black. Summer in the South. Yeah, I did. I promised I'd take him to the park. And then you guys have just been so interesting. And we only do this once a week. I think she likes being what she thinks her current partner wants more than she likes any specific interest. Yeah, I mean, that is what that looks like, yeah, but it's, from a psychological functioning perspective, that's not great. It's best to try and have a firm footing in yourself, because other people, well, they'll let you down because they're human. Her psychological function isn't great, right? Yeah. Yeah, it reminds me. I've been in. I spent a weekend in the psych ward too once. It was just a 3-day weekend though. But it was long enough to show me that I didn't belong there. You know, like I thought I had problems, but no. I just have a couple issues I need to deal with. Get my shit on the ball. So all of a sudden she forgot reality exists. We had some drama over the trans thing because she started dating a non-binary person. So all of a sudden she forgot reality exists. And she's a radical feminist, right? Yeah, no, and the changing of political, like, my mother did that to me. My mother, the atheist. Also watched a little too much Fox News the last few years. Like, the talking head was saying something about young people being disrespectful, essentially. And my mother piped up with something like, well, that's what you get when you don't teach them about God. And I turned to her and I said, Mother, you raised me without God, and I'm literally here as your grown child helping you around your house. How is that not respecting your elders? Like, what are you talking about? It was like someone else spoke with her voice. It was the weirdest fucking thing I'd ever seen. One of the weirdest things I've ever seen. Right, yeah. And that's one of those moments that's going to stick with me probably forever. Because, you know, if you had told me literally 5 minutes before that she was about to say that, you probably wouldn't have believed you. A radical feminist dating somebody non-binary, not really having an opinion on it and wondering why I care. Oh my God. Well, you've let that one go, of course. Being the sensible woman you are. It is very weird, but like, hopefully you're backing away from that one, right? Oh my God. We couldn't have any opinions of our own. My goodness. Strong opinions might put someone off. And then we might be alone. We can't have that. Because we'll die. Or something. I don't know. I love being alone. I don't necessarily love my own company, but I definitely don't necessarily love the company of others. If I could get away from myself, sometimes I would. I was being delusional myself, thinking we could be friends. Come on, optimism's not something to kick yourself over, is it? We can forgive ourselves for thinking the best, right? For hoping for the best. I mean, you know, if you're being pessimistic and self-defeating and then shit goes to pot, you might actually need to blame yourself there, but I don't know. You really try and you do everything right and it still doesn't go well. And, I don't know. Don't kick yourself for being optimistic. Obviously, she meant something to you. I just feel kind of dumb, honestly, because a lot of time and energy went into trying to be friends with her and support her and whatever else. Oh, dear. We've all thrown good money after bad. We've all... Okay. I would venture to say that everyone has at some point or another, you know, given more to a relationship than it deserved. You're right. At least you tried. Yeah. Which, you know, when you dated someone, that can be really hard. Hurt feelings and all that get in the way. So that's a lot of effort that can take. And then to have it be for nothing, yeah, that's discouraging, but what is it, little man?
I never got my pen.
Your pen?
Pen!
Oh, you're out here looking for more candy. No, you're not getting more candy right now.
But I never got my pen.
And you will do. Thank you for reminding me. I will get it for you after a while, but not right now. This is so hard. I'm gonna have to get off here. I don't want to. As I say, I tried so hard and got so far, but in the end, it doesn't really matter. Great, now I have that song in my head. Thanks a lot. I actually don't know anymore looking at. Pretty sure every time after that point I'd be like, yeah, good for you, and change the station. I don't need reminded of that shit, huh? I do. You know, you're supposed to be doing something else. I'm trying to get off of here. I really am this time, I swear. After I get off of here, maybe after we get back from the park. I was a big fan of that band. Thanks. Peace! Was that? Oh, God. I'm gonna guess and look like an idiot. I don't know who that was. I don't want to guess and look like an idiot. Who was that? I definitely remember that song. That shit got a lot of radio play like 20 years ago. Back when, you know, I used to still listen to radio in the car. No, but like that, I was in a really bad, like the boyfriend I just mentioned who dumped me and all that. That song came out right around that time. So it made me angry when he would get. Plus, I have this thing where like I don't want to be shouted at by some dude. I've never liked that. So yeah, when he would come on with those shouty vocals talking about how nothing matters, I would give him the finger and turn it off. Linkin Park! Okay, I was going to guess Blink 182. I feel like I wasn't completely off. And you know, like rock on. Like I get it. Like viscerally I get it. That shit just doesn't do it for me. You know? Like I get sometimes you just need something gritty to like get that out of you. That early 2000s stuff just didn't do it for me for some reason. Songs like that for me is Bathwater by No Doubt. Sometimes a shitty boyfriend song comes about just the wrong time, right? I only think I vaguely remember that one. Song makes me mad whenever I think of the jerk I was dating when I got that CD that it described, right? Yeah. There's some connections that you just can't unmake. And there are a couple songs out there that I know are good songs that I don't ever want to hear again. And then there's, of course, those few that are just, you know, they're terrible and you'll love them anyway. They just make you smile. And so help me, is it going to rain? Like, really? I need to take that boy to the park. I told him 2 days ago I would. And then yesterday, what even happened to this? Oh, yeah, it rained. Yeah, no, if you want to know, like, what my mentality was at the time, White Flag by Dido. Go listen to that shit. That's where I was at 20. God. And it's like that with my worst college boyfriend and the whole Eat Me, Drink Me album by Marilyn Manson. Ah, glad he's canceled, because I can't listen to that anymore anyway. I can't like it anymore, nobody can. Yeah, damn it. I didn't like Marilyn Manson to begin with, so there you go. Like, he took a really fun Eurythmics song and, like, pretensioned the fuck out of it. That put my back up right off the bat. Because I love me some Eurythmics, you know. Like, that's the only song of theirs that most people know. But I'm actually a fan of theirs. Eat Me, Drink Me was literally traumatizing to me because it sucked so bad. And Manson is my favorite band. Oh. I feel like the album was bad. Like I say, I was a judgmental little thing. Like, you fucked with my Eurythmics. And that was it. That was all I needed to know. Although I will say, he was the person that made the most sense in Bowling for Columbine, which shocked the shit out of me. I love him and support him, but he kicked out of feminist spaces for it. That's stupid. Not you. Kicking you out of a feminist space for... listen, we don't got purity tests here. That's ridiculous. Oh my god. I didn't generally like the band, so it tracks that I'd like one that fans usually liked, and vice versa. Well, and I have my own weird and very strong opinions on music myself. That album was his worst by far. Rob Zombie still good though. Hey, you know what? Like, Rob Zombie didn't get Me Too'd, did he? I mean, I know that nobody knows who he is anymore, but like, they dredged up some old people to do that to, right? And, you know, they were relitigating Manson shit from the 90s. But I didn't hear anything about Rob Zombie during any of that. Did you? I can still listen to Dracula without feeling bad. Cool. One big shocker is Homeboy from 9 Inch Nails not catching a Me Too. Yeah. I don't know. Trent Reznor strikes me as a guy who spends a lot of time alone in a room. In order to molest people, you have to meet them first. I don't know anything about him, though. I really don't know anything about him. A relief, but yeah, in the midst of that, I was kind of expecting nothing. Right. Well, maybe I'll go out on that limb then. Like, yeah, Trent Reznor has always struck me as a nerd who desperately wants to be cool. Like, at 13, watching the video to fucking Animal, I got that impression. Wow, somebody wants to be cool really, really bad. And he kind of got there, you know, but like, I don't know, like Trent Reznor has always struck me as a nerd. And the more of his music, the more he keeps on making music, the older he gets, the more nerdy it's getting, the more techno it's becoming. So, yeah, I don't know. I think I might be right on that one. But you know, like Rob Zombie got into making films and everything, so like he's clearly an extrovert. Like, you don't found a film studio as an introvert. I just don't think those two things go together at all. But yeah. I mean, you know, you think back on it, there's probably a lot of people who we might have expected to hear from, if you know what I mean, and we didn't. I'm grateful he's a nerd and not a cool rock star, given what it seems most... Right, yeah, no, and I'm not dissing him at all. Okay. He stood out from them back then, and I think it's always bothered him. He wanted to be Marilyn Manson, basically, and isn't. The only remakes I like are zombies. I'm also a huge horror fan. Right on. Like, he is part of that studio. They remake the old B horror movies. Is that right? Is that what you're talking about? He wanted to be that until he got to know him on it. Yeah, that's true. Trent does seem to have grown up and eventually come to terms with himself. That he isn't that guy. Manson and Zombie have a rivalry. I was at a concert where they argued. Manson was being a diva. Well, he named himself Marilyn after the original diva. So that checks out. I'm sorry. Like, if you just look at the names, Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie, who are you gonna pick in the fight? I'm betting on the zombie guy, okay? I almost called him Charles Manson. Oops. Yeah. He would probably find that very funny. Marilyn Manson would probably be too worried about losing the contact lens or something. Oh my god, I gotta get off here. This is so terrible. I mean, you guys are so much fun. But I gotta get off here. Oh my god, it's 3:30. He named himself after him too. Right, yeah, he wants that association. I know. That's why I think he'd think that was funny that I almost called him that. No, we were talking about Charlie the other day. He's dead, you know. Because my husband didn't. It's fun hanging with you, and I'll try not to solder up so late next time. Hey, okay. Saturday is officially going to be my YouTube day now. So the videos are going to be at 11, then we'll do the live stream at 12. You know, boom, boom. So that it's more fresh in our mind, and maybe we might actually talk about some of the stuff. But seriously, all the Manson things have been disproven in court. Manson was his dark side. Marilyn was his light side. Oh my goodness. Like, okay, classic rock was like my first breakout love, like the first music I discovered for myself. Okay. I am so blasé about the pretentious psychological machinations of these rock star dudes. Like, they all have them. They all have them, and I don't care. I don't care. I don't care how cool they think they are and why. I don't. I mean, it's always pretentious rot, anyway. They pretend they've discovered, you know, great truths within themselves, and really it is just performance art. And they get high on their own fucking farts. Start buying their own shit. And think about a guy like Marilyn Manson. Like, I can look at him and tell. I think he comes from classic rock, too, and, like, metal. You know, like, old metal. Like, it comes out in his music, and it comes out in his persona. You know, like, he's speaking my language. Like, I understand. I just disagree. An angsty teen? Yeah. 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 That's what that's for. It's good stuff. Everybody's got to have something. That just wasn't mine. He had on way too much makeup. Like, again, pretentious. It just came across to me as so very pretentious. Because, you know, I was listening to Zeppelin. You know, not only does Robert Plant not wear makeup, he doesn't wear a shirt. He was inspired by Kiss. Okay. Wow, yeah, based on what I know about Gene Simmons. That tracks. Those two are probably bosom buddies. Yeah, it's the protege Gene always wanted. I know way too much about that man. Why did they give him a reality show? What the fuck was that shit? I would literally recognize him if I passed him in the grocery store with no makeup on. Why? Why do I know all this? Oh my god. I mean, 10 years ago, anyway, he probably has aged a bit. Sorry, I have to defend him, though. I also love guys in makeup. Hey, no. It's the pretense of it. Alright? Makeup is a tool. It's not feminine or masculine. He wants to paint his face 2 different colors and wear contact lenses and whatever, fine. But artistically, it struck me as pretentious and shallow. Whether that's true is neither here nor there. That was my impression of it 25 years ago. And why I didn't go down that avenue. And, like, Kiss just doesn't make good songs. Like, that song, Beth, makes me want to vomit. You actually don't have to defend any creepy strangers unless you find that entertaining. Yeah. But hey, you know, sometimes we get attached to the idea of a person. Like, I do have a sacred cow of my own. And that's Paul McCartney. Okay? Because he was literally part of the way I convinced myself at one point that men were people. Because I couldn't find another example of one that behaved like one consistently. I love his pre-eat me, drink me. It's always worth recalling there's a big difference between people you know and literal strangers. That's very true. As it can feel like you know them. Especially if they've just kind of, I mean, like, you want to talk about somebody else who pissed me off and struck me as pretentious and shallow back in the day, was Britney Spears. who at this point I have such a soft spot in my heart for because it almost feels like we grew up together. Okay? And she doesn't know who the fuck I am. Like, I know that. So, you know, they're almost like features of the landscape, in a way. You know a celebrity the way you know that mountain over yonder, right? Same with me and her, actually. Yeah, right. I think a lot of us have ended up feeling that way, whereas maybe we weren't so fond of her back in the day, and she's ended up becoming kind of emblematic of had the extreme version of what a lot of us have ended up going through, I think. We love Britney, yeah. And that Max Martin guy. Like, I hated that song. And now I know why. She didn't write it. I was 13 when Hit Me Baby came out. I was literally their prime target audience, and it offended me so deeply. I couldn't articulate it at the time, but that song and video offended me so deeply. On such a deep level. Even back then. What do you want somebody to hit you for? What the fuck are you talking about? Your loneliness is killing you, so you're begging him to hit you? Like, what the fuck is this? Okay, I was in Catholic school at the time, so by definition I was offended. Everyone around me loved her. Everyone around me had her albums and started to dress like her. And, I was just a regular old middle school. I mean, I have to defend him in feminist faces. Because most people believe all the shit said about him. They don't care. It has been disproven. Enough about Manson. I still have vague recollections of Sister Marilyn's rant about her dressing up like a sexy Catholic schoolgirl. Hit Me Baby offended? Yes. But she didn't write. Max fucking Martin, an old white dude, wrote that song. Okay? Yeah, the lyrics are awful. But, so what? We know why. Now we know why. And they just had her, as the mouthpiece. No, you don't have to defend him in feminist spaces. You want to. Because for some reason it's important to you. The strangers on the internet like your imaginary friend. Hey, now, come on. Again, we all have our sacred cows. Come on now. Let's be nice. If y'all are going to start fighting, I'll turn this car around. Because I need to go anyway. It does nothing to this man, but I think he's a creep. Well. See, like, there's a whole lot of people out there I just haven't made a judgment on. I have a judgment about Gene Simmons because he had a reality show for 5 fucking years. It was in my face. Being a prick on national TV. I can't help it. Form an opinion about that. And he was perfectly happy that was his personal brand, so that tells you everything you need to know, in my opinion. And, like, Marilyn Manson is one of those people, like, he strikes me as pretentious. But then, like I say, I watched Bowling for Columbine in the movie theater. Like, that's how millennial I am. And he was the only person in that movie made any damn sense. So, it's the kind of thing where I don't feel like I have the complete picture, so I don't try and draw one. Does that make sense? And, like, I'm okay with that. I don't need to necessarily have an assessment on everyone who comes across my path. They probably won't be there very long anyway. But seriously, why do feminists hate me for wearing makeup and being goth? I'm really curious. Because I feel like I have to defend that as well. That's terrible that you feel like. I was assigned Bowling for Columbine in some class in high school. He impressed me in that context as well. Right, he sounded very sensible in that interview. He made the point that I have found myself repeating for the last 20 years. The same reason some of them hate me for wearing makeup, because they're allergic to fun. I don't know. It's got to come back to anxiety or something. Like, they're looking for outsiders. They're looking for someone who's, interlopers. They're trying to protect themselves. Sorry, did not mean to make this about me. No. We're talking about Marilyn Manson. Better talk about you. At least you're here. And, you know, I have actually done something to myself which I have mixed feelings about. Because it dyed my hair dark, you see. So now I have to wear makeup. The mascara is mandatory or I look like the Mona Lisa. And I just don't think I'm anywhere near famous or old enough to pull off that look. So, I don't wear makeup a lot of the time. I just don't like having shit on my face. I always fuck it up. You know? Even just this morning. Just doing this to come and talk to you guys. Look at all the black shit I had to clean off that I fucked up. See? Which is funny, because I can solder, I can paint, I can do collage, like detail-oriented shit. It's not a problem. I'm just bad at makeup. I don't know. I got accused of making videos for a male audience by some chick. What men care about any of this? And does she know I could play video games in a bra? Right, like you could play video games in the buff. Like, hello, if you want to get male attention, there are better ways. But, like, what would be wrong with making feminist videos for a male audience? Would there be a problem with that? Would that be a bad thing? Like, just on his face, I don't see a problem there. If that's your shtick, get on you. I'm 34 double D. Video games in a bra would do it. Yes, it would. Especially a fancy one. Oh, yeah. Oh, my God, a negligee. Oh, my God. You'd never have to work again. But, and this brings me back. I know what boys like. Yeah, right? They all like kind of the same thing. We were talking about this a couple weeks ago. Or a couple months ago. I don't think either of you ladies were here at the time. But, like, apparently there's literally only one Y chromosome on the entire planet. So, they're not all the same guy. But their guyness is all the same. Which is hilarious and explains so much. But yeah, it's annoying to have chicks act like it's some kind of crime. Anyway, what if I wanted dudes to watch my... I wanted dudes to watch... Is it a crime now? I don't know. Like, okay. And I have decided a long time ago that, I don't feel it's productive to... Not only is it not productive, it's judgmental and, like, actually bigoted to write off an individual because of a thing about them they can't help. But yeah, it's annoying to have chicks. Yeah, so when anyone comes at me in a feminist, you know, context, or any context, but particularly a feminist context, just trying to imply that we should exclude men entirely, that's not a practical solution. I just don't engage with that. If you want to go do some male bashing, have a good time. But that's not why I'm here. I'm trying to, like, coalition build and, like, actually get something done. But so, yeah, I guess what I'm saying is, I've been wearing makeup this whole time. And most people who stop by this video probably had no fucking idea. It's just a little mascara. And if you don't know that I've dyed my hair, I don't think this shit's obvious at all. It reminds me of how people are racist against Jews. How? I mean, really, at least if you're going to hate a group you can identify from a distance. If there are Jews who look like me, with red hair, you know, like it's an ethnicity, but it's also a religion, you know, and I don't know. Why are we hating on each other? I guess is my point. It's stupid. It reminds me of what I was saying about Kelly J in response to ContraPoints not caring why we disagree with him, only that we do. So we're bigots automatically. Well, you know what? I don't care why she agrees with me that women as a sex class need a movement of our own. I don't. Beyond that, she can wear all the fucking makeup she wants. She's out there campaigning for us. Good on her. I don't give a fuck what she wears while she's doing it. What the fuck? Come on. Priorities. Like, priorities. I thought we were supposed to be supporting one another. And it's petty, isn't it? I mean, yeah, it's the painted veil, and it's got a lot of symbolism and a lot of baggage. But at the end of the day, it's just some paint you put on your face. It's a petty thing. To fucking define a movement over what the fuck? I don't know. That seems like we're doing patriarchy's fucking work for it. Like, pretty straightforwardly right there.
Mom,
Yes, my love.
you know where
Yes, I do. There are 2 baskets full of clothes in my room. One of them should have a chip for you in it. At least one. Yes, I loved that comment on the Comfortable Ones video. It totally shows he just hates anyone who is against his view. Right, exactly. And then he just straightforwardly said so. Kind of blew me away. I mean, I know, like, we were like an hour and 45 minutes deep into a 2-hour video by that point. There's a really good chance that most people watch this shit did not see that part. Because they didn't wait around that long, or they weren't paying attention that long. But, like, this is where that rhetoric is going now. Like I say, Jesse was saying similar stuff. Like, they've reached the end of that road, like we were saying. Like, that train has come to its last stop, and wouldn't you know it, it ain't Womantown. So, yeah, we might all need to back away while the narcissists implode, lest we get sucked into the vortex. Just, that never goes well. That never goes well. Both of those guys are 5 years at the most away from pretty serious breakdowns, I would say. It's not even up for discussion, which is all they wanted to be a part of, right? And he just hates everyone. Says we're all on the right. Yeah. Yep. Disagree with me? Oh, you're a fascist. Which, like I say, is a great way to end the debate, and it's really hard to argue with. Not the most elegant solution, though, I wouldn't say. Not like you're going to convert any hearts and minds there. And it's really self-centered, too. It's just another way of saying I mean, there's I got mine, fuck you. And this is a little different. It's I didn't get mine, so fuck you. I mean, really, we're a heartbeat away from if I can't be happy, no one can. Okay? It only works if the audience in question already sides with you. Right. True. LGBT acceptance is down. Right. Of course it's because of the TQ. Which, like, I pointed this out to a coworker of mine years ago. This little gay guy who, you know, was kind of nipping at my heels, metaphorically, about the trans rights thing because, you know, his community had drummed this into his head. And I pointed out to him that if sex isn't real, then neither is homosexuality, right, Roy? So what are you? You know, this young man who's developing his blossoming identity around his homosexuality. That hit him pretty hard. It took a lot of the wind out of his sails. I think it's partly them, but it isn't helping at all how many LGBT people decided to throw their lot in with the madness and harming kids. Right. You can't say you don't want the blowback from a group you willingly associate with yourself in for a penny and for a pound. Right. And you know, I saw this back when the gender critical people were first starting to flirt with, you know, working with the right-wing people. I'm like, we don't want to get swept down the drain with those people, you guys. Because if any kind of a real sweeping liberal movement comes along like we want, that's what's going to happen to them. And all their ideas, whoosh, down the cultural tube, down the historical tube, okay? And we don't want to be fucking shackled to that. That makes sense. I think that's why some are wanting to separate, yeah. But overwhelmingly, most are not. And they're just not thinking about it critically, like they can't be, because again, on its face, if sex isn't, like, I'm sorry, did you choose to be gay or not? Is it a choice or not? Were you born this way or not? What the fuck? How are they not so obviously shooting themselves in the foot? So yeah, when I started to hear about, Drop the T and the LGBT Alliance and all that, I'm like, well, that makes perfect sense. And then the other thing I started harping on recently, which I'm just having so much fun with, is why does being trans require medical treatment? Being gay doesn't require medical treatment. That right there tells you how different they are. People get on both sides of that depending on what point they want to make. Integrity. It's hard. I don't know. It's weird because on the one hand, we hold people so tightly accountable for this and that and the other. And then on the other hand, I feel like there's this sort of sense that if you got away with it, then it's okay. Right? If you did a thing and no one called you out for it, then it must have been okay. Right? And there's no concept of, like, integrity. Of, like, why did you think that was okay? Why did you decide to do that? I don't know. But I got away with it, so it must have been okay. Like childishness. It's like the flip side of the cancel culture thing, which is also childish. If it improved the mental or emotional state of gay people to try to convert them, then it wouldn't be made illegal. It would just be on the list of options for gay people. I mean, I guess. But, like, if you take a gay man and turn him into a sterile woman, he's no longer a gay man. Right? Like, he's not a woman either. But, like, I have never met a homosexual person who knew that that's what they were feeling, who wanted surgery or any kind of medical treatment for that. I've never met one. They didn't outlaw conversion therapy because it's so great to be gay. They outlawed it because it was proven to not just not work, but harm people. Well, okay. What are we saying? It should be clear. We're talking about different things. Yeah. It should be. It should be. And, like what I was saying earlier, like if somebody is making points that are just blatantly nonsensical, I stop debating that person. Because they're not arguing in good faith. It's browbeating. It's bullshit. But like what? Treating trans people has positive impacts. Treating gay people doesn't. Gotcha. Right. It's the inverse way of saying that gay people are okay. You just leave them alone. And don't tell them that what they're doing is bad, or wrong, or terrible somehow. Treating trans people has positive impacts. Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sure that being love-bombed by an entire community and given fucking drugs that you told are going to cure all of your problems by the guy in the white lab coat would make anyone feel amazing. Someone made this, I wish I could remember who it was that made this point, but like, positive affect and mood doesn't tell you shit. Like, I think this might have been Rubble of Empires actually made this point in something I saw the other day, which is that recovering anorexics, once they reach, close to their healthy weight, are miserable. The further as an anorexic you get into your recovery, the more miserable up to a certain point you become. But if you let them starve themselves, they'd be perfectly happy. What the fuck does that mean? Who gives a shit? What makes them happy? They're gonna kill themselves. Now, there's a lot of argument about why the treatment helped and to what extent, but it's inarguable there's an improvement over leaving them the fuck alone. And what that says is something is wrong. You're right. But what is it? It certainly isn't that they're secretly the opposite sex inside. That's not it. We can just go ahead and cross that off. That's not what it is. And since that's the only option these people are willing to entertain, you know, the one thing it can't be, next question is whether that's the best way to go about treating them. I'm going to go ahead and venture and say no. And I do have my own bias here, because again, if this shit was as popular 20 years ago as it is now, I would not be sitting here in this forum speaking to you now. And I know this. This is just a fact in my world, okay? Like, I was just lucky. I was born 20 years too early. That's it. That's all that happened. That's the only difference for me. But folks just stop at, see something is wrong, and doing something besides absolutely nothing helps. You know, like, no shit, doing something other than nothing helps. It's called the placebo effect. Right. Plus love bombing. Plus hormones. Plus being told that this will help solve all, you know, that this is going to help you. By professionals. Yeah, all this stuff is going to puff you up. But that doesn't mean that it's actually helping anything. And heroin, I hear, makes people feel amazing. So what? We're not recommending that for depression, are we? No. Like, just because somebody is happy in the moment doesn't really mean anything, unfortunately. Exogenous testosterone and estrogen have euphoria listed among the side effects. Right. Yeah. So you're pumping yourself full of hormones, and you're getting love bombed by random strangers sometimes, right? And the professionals who have gathered around you are, you know, petting your ego and telling you that you're doing the right thing for yourself, and this is going to be oh so good for you, and you're going to feel so much better. I mean, yeah. Being unhappy in a situation like that would just feel contrarian. What's up, baby?
It's 4. I'm going to take going to the park.
Okay. Oh, come on. Let's give you a hug. What? I'm not going to fight you.
It doesn't take the first thing to let it go by, and then you do
Thanks, Mecca. I obviously needed that. We got another fun little Jesse Gender coming for you next week, so be looking for that, guys.
Right.
I am saying goodbye right now. If you try and give them what they want, they're not paying close enough attention to fucking realize that. Have a good week, guys. See you later.